It's clobbering time! It's clobbering time! Clobberonimo!
Yes, clobbering time. Here on oh wow, I almost had a flashback. I thought it was on Blog Talk Radio. What the hell's wrong with me? Well, welcome to Blog Talk Radio, everybody. Oh wow. And I don't think I've even made that mistake since I've moved to YouTube. So that is a weird one to make, but I'm almost proud that I'm that senile. Hello, that seems to be the in thing to be these days. Anyway, my good friends, welcome to Clobbering Times Saturday Night Star Trek. Clobberonimo! Well done. You picked up from my just I don't know what I was thinking. I was trying to write this stuff down, I guess, and just got overtaken by it. So, welcome everybody. Good to see you.
You
it's
mean
so
Library computer, data being received.
yeah, that too. Didn't hear it as loud this time though.
no?
No,
Let me turn that
that
up.
may have been just me though. Maybe just me.
I cranked it up for you, boss.
I love it now. Okay. All right. What do we got? Well, welcome everyone to Clobber Times. Number 595 overall. Number 1,295 on. Overall. But I don't know what the hell's wrong with me tonight, everybody. I apologize. 595 on YouTube. 1,295 overall, which I forgot to write into the credits. Looks like apparently tonight. Oops. But it's Saturday Night Star Trek number 123, DS9 Reviews, Season 7. And we are just so happy to see you all here with us tonight. I promise I'm awake. I didn't seem like it, but I don't seem like it. I don't know. Man, I'm having a weird... I wasn't doing this before the show, was I?
No, do you have M&Ms close by?
No, I
Maybe
just
you
ate some
need
ice
some
cream.
M&Ms, or maybe ice cream or chippies,
I
or
just had ice cream, a whole biggie thingy
do
of
you
it.
have any do you have any popcorn?
Anybody?
Popcorn. Popcorn. I
Uh,
call it packern.
what is pattern?
It's my joke name for popcorn.
Oh, well, see, you got to tell me these things. Pattern. Hmm. No, I don't. This is the silly segment of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We thought we'd treat you to a little bit of silliness before we got down to the serious business of tonight. Yeah, yeah. And before we start out with our show notes and shout outs, I would like to get back on track by having my wonderful first officer open up with any opening remarks she would like. Go for it.
Oh, well, thank you so much, boss. Well, first, I have to say, Chris Persia, I love you. I'm so sorry that you are having this emergency.
Oh,
I hope you get that contained right away. And we love you very much. And yikes,
oh man,
yikes.
yeah. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
Ouch.
nobody wants plumbing issues.
No,
It's a
never.
nightmare.
So
And
sorry.
what else can I say other than, oh my gosh, I am so excited to be here. Every Saturday feels like the first Saturday, feels like the first time. Um,
Mhm.
because I love you all so much. So hail to the chat, hail to the wrenches, hail 735ers, clobberers, clobberonimos, clobberooskies. We are going to have such a great time tonight talking about old school Star Trek. And I do need to use this time to thank the folks who are backing my new book. Do you like science fiction? Do you like science fiction that doesn't tell you how to vote, that doesn't preach at you, that doesn't admonish you, or make you feel like scum? If you just want to read some science fiction, you might like my science fiction. I have a new book coming up. Hopefully by the end of this year. And I have some marvelous people who are backing that book because corporations, they don't want anything to do with episodic science fiction. Sad, but true. Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter, Cardinal Sin, Shoota, Chris Persia, Scuba and Leslie Pete, Eric K. and the marvelous Kirby, Enigmatic Drop Bear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with a C. Damn it, Mark! Also, happy birthday! Anti-Derivative Jill, Maximum Redstone, JJ Cook, Dadman and the Dadman Clan, and Lord and Lady Thoth. Thank you so much for stepping up to make sure that my stories get published. I am so grateful to you. So, with that out of the way, now I have to turn my attention to my captain. My captain, I love you so much. You're one of my best friends in the whole wide, crazy world. Let's have a great time tonight. Let's get it on.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, number one. You are the greatest. Maybe I can get back on track after that horrible opening. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. I need to be fired. I'm firing myself, folks. See you later. Nice. It was nice knowing you all.
Hey, don't go.
Well, I guess I'll hang around a little while. I'll give my resignation with some notice there. All right, everyone. Let us do some show notes and some shout outs, shall we?
Let's do
Because
it.
just the way what we roll up and we take it casual. But let's see here. Tomorrow night, the birthday boy. Yes, tonight is his birthday. Today is his birthday. The great Mark D with a C. We want to wish him a big happy birthday out there. From all your friends at Saturday Night Star Trek, he'll pop in and hang out with us at some point. But we want to give a birthday shout out to the great Mark D with a C because he's such a great chief engineer and great friend of the show.
That's right.
So we appreciate him on all he
He's
does.
having a marvelous time with his family right now, and hopefully he'll have some time later to pop in and visit.
Right.
And we would love that, but certainly no pressure on Mark. He has a beautiful family, and I'm sure that he would love to spend the evening with them. But Mark D with the C, we are very happy that you were born. You are such a good friend, a great friend to one and all, a leader in your community, a Cub Scout leader. You're helping to mentor young men into being fine men. You're a family man. You're involved with your community and charity work, and we all appreciate you very much. You are a great friend to one and all. We are very happy you were born. Happy birthday, Mark D. with Lissy.
Yes, indeed, buddy. And no one could ever put it better than this gentleman.
Happy birthday.
Well done, number one. That tip to the wonderful number one, who made that happen. Of course, he may not have even seen this yet, but we'll get him when he, he should be in, a little later. So,
Lord
all right.
Thoth is calling for you to be, promoted to an admiral.
Not a chance, but thank you. I would not let them promote me. Kirk said, "Don't let them promote you." Okay, there's the show notes. Thank you, by the way, LT. Anyway, yes, Sunday night, we'll be hanging out with the birthday boy at the Geekery, 10 p.m. Eastern time there for the Sunday night Geekery, hanging out, just geeking out. Hopefully not about food, but he has a way of turning it into that. I'll do my best.
Just as long as it's not sea-tongue pizza. He can talk about food, just not his stupid sea-tongue pizza.
Actually,
we love him, but...
No. Actually, just no more food. Stop it. We both have our doctors down, breathing down our throats, telling us to cut it out. So, all right. And then, of course, Monday night at a special time, 6 p.m. Central, we'll be hanging out with the great J-Man and the great Sean over on J-Man's amazing channel, our good buddy, chronologically reviewing the Legion of Superheroes, all of their appearances from beginning to the end, because it was ended for me in 89. So that's going to be a lot of fun. 3 more issues. Looking forward to that. J-Man is the coolest, and cannot wait to hang out with him and Sean. Great guys. And then, of course, I will I'll be my 9 o'clock show will be a tribute to the great John Romita Sr., who unfortunately we lost this week, one of the greatest all time. I'll be doing a Clobbering Times tribute to the great one himself, and that'll be 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so, everyone, sorry, I made a mistake here. I used the wrong one. Man, this StreamYards, will you cut it out, man? Sorry about it. StreamYards glitched me and wouldn't let me use the picture that I wanted then. All right. So anyway, that is Monday Night March C Comics Talk that we'll be doing tribute to the great John Romita Sr. And then, of course, the rest of the week, the rest of the usual shows. So now let's get on with our shout-outs of our friends, starting, of course, with that extraordinary wrenches. Let's see whom we've got. Whether they're here or not, they get the shout-out. That is, of course, but he is here tonight. No, the great Eric K., the Bronze Wrencher, buddy. Thank you.
Love you very much. You've had some serious health issues lately, and you have emerged on the other side of it victorious. And I know you're still healing, but I just want you to know that everyone loves you very much, and we appreciate you very much. All the work you do for everyone in YouTube and just all the friends, how good you are to your friends. So get well soon, honeys. Don't push yourself. Take your time, and we're all thinking of you.
Yep. Indeed, it's just Chris Persia. I think he had to run off for a bit, but hope he gets everything straightened out. The Vindicator Wrench of the North. Always appreciate you and all you do.
Beautiful show poster tonight. Thank you for filling up your social media with Clobby's channel and taking the time to make all these beautiful show posters for Clobby all the time, and just getting the word out and trying to build up this channel. And you're doing that for Clobby, and I think you're a pretty amazing person, and I appreciate you very much. Love you, love you. Thank you. Oh, and thank you for the wonderful comics reader that you gave me on the Clubhouse. That thing is great. It's such a wonderful app. No malware on that. Oh, nice. Chris, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you. Before we continue, I want to thank anyone who is lurking out there tonight. We love your new lurkers and appreciate you so much. Out there, yep, always manages to, it makes good comments to us sometimes, and when he doesn't, we miss you. But we're glad you're out there. I can't pronounce it as well as Raquel can, but There you go. Good to say. We hope you're doing well, my friend, and everyone else lurking. Thank you, and anyone watching later on a download or a repeat or reload, however you or rewatch, however you call it. Thank you so much. You are too kind, and we cannot tell you how much we appreciate you.
That's
There's
right.
also the great D. Bud Martin, the Wrench of Iron. Had a great time hanging out with you at Nick's channel last night. It was very cool. We talked a little bit about the great John Romita. Lord Thoth, what is up, buddy? God of Wrenching, and of course, shout out to the lovely Lady Thoth, the goddess of wrenching, and Avon lives, and long live the Legion, sir.
And we can't forget about Lance. You can chuck some cheese into the chat. That's right, chuck cheese in the chat for our resident Porthos, our wonderful little baby beagle Lance.
Let's see here. Sorry, while you were doing that, I was writing stuff down. I got caught writing stuff down. So sorry, buddy. I'm trying to catch up with everything going on in the chat there. So sometimes it takes me a minute to
Data being received.
get back. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Okay. Where were I? All right. Okay. The great J-Man himself, the let's see, my good partner in crime on Earth B, and fellow legionary reviewer extraordinaire. I think I probably had to run, but J-Man, thanks, buddy.
And also a serious horror author. His books are on sale at Amazon. My fellow Canadian who really supports independent authors here. His wife is an award-winning poet here in Canada, and the two of them have backed my work. They put their money where their mouth is, not only buying my book and all of my stories, but getting out there and promoting it for me, doing actual reviews, and it means a lot coming from someone like Jason and his wife. So if you like horror books, please support Jason. You can find him through his handle Jman on Twitter, and that will lead you to where you have to go.
Hungry Boy, Master of the Club, Boney, artist extraordinaire.
Beautiful
Kal-El, Super Wrench, Kal-El, Wrench Supreme.
Real soup.
Maddie's Daddy.
Maddie's Daddy. Speaking of Maddie's Daddy, he popped in and he wants everyone to know that he was here and that he waved hello. But he has a very special date with a very special, beautiful little girl. And her name is Maddie. So they're out for dinner. But we're waving back to Steve and saying thank you for popping in.
The Fanty Outsidey, the Rascally Wrench, hey, buddy. And I haven't seen him in a while, but we give him a shout out because he's a good buddy. We hope he's okay. The great, our own music meister, the great Maximum Redstone.
Maximum Redstone.
You out there, buddy? We hope you are doing well. We're just concerned about you, and hope things are well for you. There. Where were I? Oh, okay, sorry. So those are those shout outs. Now let's shout out our friends who are here in the audience. Of course, our own communications officers here. Anti-Derivative Jill.
Good evening.
Good to see you there. We're shouting out Mark D, even though he's not here yet because he's too busy.
Damn it, Mark.
His birthday. No, I was kidding. I know he's out there having fun with the family, and we were glad too. So we will see him later. No, he'll definitely pop in. So let's see who else here. Who else is here? Joseph Dredd. Here comes the judge.
Oh,
all right.
Nice to see you. Thank you for popping in.
All righty. Shooter.
Pew, 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 pew.
FKH. Excuse me. Where's it? FKHC 2005. Hey, my friend.
Ooh.
The Tetrarch of Apathy cares. I know he
so
cares.
apathetic, and yet he cares.
He cares. Simply Steve, buddy.
Hey, sweetheart. Nice to see you.
Linrod.
Oh,
hey.
I got to tap the brakes on the show. Steve, here you go, honey. These are the Steves I know. 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 There's some bad singing. It's supposed to be bad singing.
It's not bad.
Because it is from Kids in the Hall. It's a Canadian joke that all the Steves around here really enjoy. So there is your request, Steve.
By the way, I forgot, Eric K., thank you so much for the $2 Super chat. You're too kind, buddy. Another 15,000 and you can retire. Yeah, like I'll make it that far. The universe would not allow that. Let's see here. Little Scotty. Hello there.
Hello. Nice to see you.
Mr. Angel. What's up, Chef?
Evening, Chef.
Sandra Feliciano, other Feliciano. Sandra, I hope things are going better for you there. Big best wishes to you and Raymond, whatever's going on. You said you're having some a time of it. I believe I saw it pass by in the chat, but big everyone keep both Raymond and Sandra in your prayers. Our good friends Raymond and Sandra. I hope whatever it is, I hope it gets better.
And we would be remiss if we didn't say King Dolphin TV
in color. Absolutely. Snail Messiah. What is up, Snail Man? All right.
As HB would say, the mighty mollusk.
And yes. JT Kirk, buddy.
JT Kirk.
SP4H. Hello.
Oh, good evening. Nice to see you.
The great enigmatic drop bear.
The erudite bear. Watch this space, folks. Edie drops the mic every Saturday night with amazing reviews. He puts the work in, and these are the kind of reviews that you actually look for on blog posts, on places where people evaluate television and film. He puts the work in, and they're quality reviews that spark amazing conversations here. So watch that space.
Oh my goodness. Sandra says Raymond's mom is very ill, and the dog's been misbehaving. Well, I hope Raymond's mother does better, pulls out of there, and pulls out, and pulls through there. Good luck to her. And I'm so sorry to hear about that for Raymond, Sandra. But good luck.
Not good.
Best of luck. Absolutely. All right. Let's see here. Who we got? John Ruggie.
Ruggie?
John. Pop Culture Republic. Hey there, Pop
good to see you. Hope your channel is going well. It's so nice to have you back in the fold.
Good to see you there. Absolutely. Douchebag Kylo. I know we've seen you at the Great Doomcock's channel many times. I don't know if we've had you here, but it is good to see you. Welcome, Douchebag Kylo.
It's very nice to meet you, and I'm so happy that you're here. I hope you have a great time. If you need anything, just let us know.
Indeed. Bush Pan Down.
Bush Pan Down.
My old buddy from the old days, Blog Talk Radio days. Maybe that's why I had a Blog Talk Radio flashback. The great almighty sports show. Hey, what's up, old friend? Hope you're doing well.
Welcome.
The great Rob Altus. What's up, Rob?
Hey, Rob.
Absolutely. Claude Salling. Hello there.
Evening, Claude.
I always wonder if I'm saying that right, Claude. If they say Salling, you say Salling. I mean, I'm bad with pronunciation. I have no education, as you know. So, but anyway, Claude, always great to see you.
Well, you wouldn't be able to know anyway, Clobby. English is made up of many languages. Right. So don't beat yourself up too badly there.
But I just like to, so you know. And they call him Scuba Beach. He's the king of the Zamba Beach. But if I use the maracas, he goes chicky boom, chicky boom, boop, boop, boop. All righty, let's speed this up here, folks. We promised to do reviews. We promised. Lisa, lovely Lisa. Hey there. Good to see you, my dear. Doris Scipio, you old rascal. What's up?
Evening.
Dave Rayborn, what's up, cuz?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, dude. Hope you're doing well. Herc's here.
Hooby-dooby, wah.
The AI show. Hey.
Hello.
Hello there, mighty Orbots. Yes, indeed. And Sean Carter.
Sean Carter from Mars.
What's up, my friend? Dave G Sound. Hey.
Dave G Sound. Not just Larry, another body of water.
The Larry to the Larry.
Larry's here. A man
Absolutely.
So nice, you should say his name twice. Larry.
And Keely Chow. Roll that tie, Keely Chow. Douchebag, we may have done a pop culture breakdown together once, maybe. I'm not sure. But I do know of you, of course, there. But anyway, I'm just honored to have you here, my friend. And I hope you were doing well. We probably were on
while you're mentioning
a panel together.
I'd like to call out Scotty, my friend Scotty, our friend Scotty, because he's calling a sporking raid Keely Chow put hashtag Sporking Raid, which means Scotty was
Oh.
calling us out and sending folks to the show. So I just want to shout back to my friend Scotty, let him know that we all love him, and thank you for the shout out,
Yes.
sweetheart.
Thank you, Scotty. Great guys over there at the Sporking podcast. And hey, Boosh McFadden
Whoosh!
and Dad Man.
Devin and the Devin clan.
All right, folks. Well, we're gonna get to some reviews here. Since they went all that trouble making those shows way back when, it's the least we could do. We feel. For those who are maybe unfamiliar with us, I'll run through it right quickly. Our little backup here. What we do here on Saturday Night Star Trek is we've embarked upon the mission of reviewing all of real Star Trek, meaning 1966 through 2005. Nothing after that with the Star Trek label counts. Oh, I got you, Deuce. Douchebag. I hear you, man. I hear you, Kylo. Thanks. So we've decided to review it all. We started in January of 2021 with the original series, of course, then the animated series, the original crew films, Star Trek: The Next Generation, and now we are getting somewhere around the middle of Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 7. And we are going to review everything, and it's going to take, so we'll be doing this for a little bit longer. And but right now, our basic reference point, even though we don't use it for the synopsis because it's so much, we just have a basic reference guide that we like to point people to if they want to know more about Deep Space Nine and read more about it. And I will now, it's called the Star Trek Deep Space Nine Companion. And now I'm going to turn the helm over to my wonderful first officer. Number one, we'll tell you a little bit about that and what we do, and then we'll get rolling, reviewing our 4 episodes for the night. Take it away, number one.
Well, thank you so much, boss. Yes, we have a companion. We have a recommended text that I have vetted as an academic and as a scholar for this show. And the reason being is if you are a Trekkie and you've been around for a really long time, you know that being a Trekkie is like being in a giant soup of lies and fan lore. And IMDb is a cesspool of it. So you won't see people copying and pasting all the trivia from IMDb here. Obviously, Memory Alpha is now polluted by the filth. Blech! And so we don't post stuff from Memory Alpha. And so where do you go? It's not like you're going to go to Wikipedia. That's another user-generated site. What you really need is you need original source material. And there's a wonderful woman by the name of Paula M. Block who publishes books that are original source material. You hear it straight from the horse's mouth. She goes directly to these actors, directors, producers, everyone involved with the show, and it's a no-nonsense thing. So much so that some people who have purchased the book on my recommendation have actually said that they were shocked at how candid the actors, directors, and producers, people involved with the show are in these texts. So I highly recommend it. If you are looking for information on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, look no further than Star Trek Deep Space Nine Companion by Terry J. Erdman. That is the husband of Paula M. Block. But, you know, Paula M. Block is a prolific Star Trek author who always uses original source material like an academic. I highly recommend that you turn to her and not these useless user-generated sites. So that being said, you should also know that this text does not suit a podcast, so we can't read from it. The reason being, the summaries are like 15 pages long. That's redonkulous. So we have been forced to use the summary from Wikipedia. Now, it sucks, but we correct it. But you know what? The show wouldn't be the same without the summaries. The summaries are important because, between 200 and 300, sometimes more than 300 people show up for this show. And not everyone has time to watch all 4 episodes. So that summary is a nice anchoring point for us so that people can recall what the episode is about. And it's super important because what Clobby and I do around here is very unique. This is an entirely organic show where Clobby and I don't discuss the episodes beforehand. We don't pre-read anything, so go easy on us. We're reading user-generated stuff. And we engage the chat. This is why we take so much time introducing everyone. It seems like a useless endeavor. Well, it might be on other shows, but not here, because this cast of characters, these people who are in this chat, are a part of this show, an active part of this show. We want to hear what you thought about the episode. We want to know what grade you're going to give the episode. Clubby and I have both been watching Star Trek for 45 or 50 years each. So we talk about it, and together it just turns into a giant celebration of Star Trek on this marvelous channel we call Clobberin Times. These are Clobberin Treks. And we're about ready to get going on the 4 episodes we're covering tonight.
Yes, and again, like I said, we for those anyone new to us, what we do is after number one reads our basic synopsis of the episode, she asks me some basic thoughts on the episode from me. Then she reads some notes. Then she and I give our ratings of the episode. Then you all hold off until we give the word, and when I give the word, you give us your rating of the episode and any words you might have. Try to keep it under 5 chats if you would. We'd appreciate it. Some people will go a little bit over that once in a while, but the more people we have, it just takes, and we read them all, so everyone has their opinion expressed, and it doesn't matter. Hey Zathras, what's up, buddy?
Crap.
It doesn't matter, what the prevailing opinion is. You'll never be afraid to express your opinion, whether everyone else disagrees with it or not. All opinions will be respected here.
That's
right.
right.
Here, it's the way we do it. So it's the way we roll up on you. So, number one, are we ready for our first episode of the evening?
I think so, boss. I think so.
All right. So here we go. Our first episode of the evening, folks, is Field of Fire.
Yep. Field of Fire is season 7, episode 13. If that's not lining up for you, don't worry about it. This is an international show, and streaming services bust these episodes up differently because, as many of you know, DS9 is infamous for being a multi-parter series. Sometimes all the way up to 5 and 6 episodes are related. What you do need to know if you're following along in the companion, and many of you are, is that this is prod code 563. We all started watching this on February 8th, 1999. That being said, let's stay copyright compliant. I'm going to be reading the user-generated summary from Wikipedia. Probably going to suck. Saddle up.
It goes. Alaric Harrison. Hey, Alaric.
Hey, Alaric. Nice to see you. Hector Ilario, a young DS9 crew member, is found dead in his quarters. Dr. Bashir determines that he was killed by a bullet fired at close range from a TR-116, a prototype rifle design discontinued by Starfleet. Discontinued by Starfleet. It's not really discontinued by Starfleet. It's used for very specific purposes. Projectile weapons are used for specific purposes, where photon and energy weapons can't be used. Anyway, so that's already incorrect, but let's keep going. Security Chief Odo notes that a rifle fired at close range would leave powder burns on the victim, but no such marks are found on Ilario. Engineer Miles O'Brien eventually discovers how the killer gave the bullet a close-range trajectory without being in the same room as the victim. A miniature transporter was fitted to the weapon, beaming the bullet directly to the victim's quarters. Using a targeting sensor, the killer could target victims from anywhere on the station. Ezri Dax is troubled by memories of Duran, a former host of the Dax symbiote who was himself a murderer. In a dream, Duran tells her that he can help her find Ilario's killer. When another officer is murdered in the same way, Captain Sisko asks Ezri to try to profile the killer, and Ezri performs a ritual to summon Duran to the foreground of her consciousness. Duran encourages Ezri to get inside the murderer's mind, going as far as to have her aim the TR-116 at unsuspecting people and contemplate the resulting feeling of power. Encouraged by Duran, she nearly stabs a potential suspect who turns out to be innocent. Sisko is ready to take Ezri off the case. Why was she ever on the case? But agrees to give her another chance. After a third officer is killed, Ezri notices that each victim had a photograph in their quarters of people laughing. Duran and Ezri conjecture that the killer hates laughter. Most likely a Vulcan. Dun, dun, dun! As Vulcans are known for repressing emotions, and perhaps one who has recently suffered intense psychological trauma. No great leaps there, just pulling that crap right out of their butts. During a chance encounter with a Vulcan named Chulak, Duran becomes convinced that he is the killer. Why? Researching Chulak's background, Esri discovers that he was one of only 6 survivors of a vessel destroyed during the Dominion War. As Esri targets Chulak in his quarters with her TR-116, she sees that he intends to kill her next. The two aim their rifles at one another. Esri fires first, wounding Chulak and throwing off his aim so that his shot misses her. Duran urges her to finish him off, but she calls a medical team instead. Later, as Esri performs the ritual to return Duran to her subconscious, he reminds her that he will always be a part of her. And now I'll turn it over to Clobby. Captain, my captain, mon capitaine. Please tell me, what did you think of Field of Fire?
Oh, well, I got to tell you, I thought I think there are a lot of definitely clever ideas in the episode. My biggest problem here is, as often is the case with this show, a Vulcan serial killer. It could have been, if it just been anybody else. If it's just been anything but a Vulcan. But then already, now, first we have Vulcans bullies, Vulcans playing baseball. I mean, they must really hate Vulcans. I mean, Ron Moore, jackass, must really hate Vulcans. I don't understand. There's no other reason for. I mean, no other explanation. I mean, a Vulcan. I'm not saying Vulcans are perfect. Vulcans, should never be perfect. They're warrior of justice.
Warrior of justice.
Okay, a warrior. Good to see warrior. I'm sorry. I mean, Vulcans. I guess I'm not asking for them to be perfect. I just don't buy them turning into serial killers because of personal loss. They don't. Well, yeah. They don't experience grief the same way we do. They don't. Don't deal with grief the same way. When they lose someone, they're always very deep. I mean, in a war, they're always, they're very deeply philosophical about it. They just don't act like that. I guess I'm not saying a Vulcan can't go insane. It's just so.
But he doesn't go insane.
Well, he just goes. He's pretty going. He's being crazy. What he's doing.
Yeah, they turn him into a serial killer, which makes no sense.
Victor Fontaine.
This guy, hey Vic. Vic. It doesn't make sense. This guy would have already been through Kolinar. He would have been purged of his emotions. Right. The last thing he would be doing, what is he not meditating? This doesn't make sense. Not to mention the fact
they're not murderers either.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that seeing people killed during the Dominion War wouldn't weaken a Vulcan to want to start to turn into a serial killer. Come on.
Are you saying that Vulcans are monolithic? Actually, in a sense, they almost are. I'm not saying one can't have problems, but Kolinar pretty much cleanses them, purges emotions for them. I'm saying that they're made of sterner stuff than to suffer from a form of, this whatever this mental condition was of losing loved ones. So they get this. I'm sorry, he was being crazy because he decided that he would kill people who were laughing. No, if he's scanning all these quarters and he sees pictures of somebody smiling, he murders the person in there. That's insane, wacky doodle stuff.
It is.
Which, if it had been any other race with emotions similar to human beings, or something like that, they would have made for a fairly interesting science fiction thriller. With
the only reason why I'm bringing that up, though, Clobby, is because, the thing is that it goes to motive and it goes to premeditation. So, do I think it's possible for a Vulcan who has been through an incredibly traumatic experience to snap his crayons and possibly lose his temper and choke someone who is being violent? Absolutely, I think that's possible. Do I think it's possible for someone who's gone through Kolinar, who's a Starfleet officer and has been through all this training? Do I think that it's possible for him to abandon everything he learned in Kolinar, abandon everything that is genetically inherent to him, and become a serial killer and perpetuate constant violence that's premeditated over a prolonged period of time? No.
Random killing is just, again, and I'll leave that alone for a second because that's the biggest stickler. That really destroys the verisimilitude, as some certain person likes to say, our credibility of the episode. For me, completely shoots it out of the water. But anyway, for another point, and I'll let you do your notes in a second. Another point for me is, why? Look, I really did enjoy the Ezri's Duran stuff. I thought it was very well done. But she really, I don't know why she's investigating this. I mean, if I go ahead and just and ignore that, I think the thing is very well done, very well acted. It's a fascinating idea. I thought the gentleman who played Duran, his name was great. All that kind of stuff. All that stuff is fascinating in a fascinating, well done drama. But I just can't sanction it because there are too many things that don't work, in even non Star Trek, much less something that is Star Trek or supposed to be Star Trek. It doesn't work in any way. So I don't understand why she is screen time. I mean, I don't know why she's on this case. I mean, helping with it maybe, but doesn't Odo do the investigating around here?
Well, not only that, it wouldn't just be Odo, it would also be Worf. If you wanted to circle the wagons and figure out who the killer is, who's putting their heads together is Worf and Odo. Look, this is somebody who didn't even graduate from the academy, who didn't even take any type of psychology exams, or she hasn't studied. She didn't go through university. And Sisko actually gets her permission to be a counselor on DS9. So this is actually somebody who hasn't even finished her academy training. And I do love what Dave G. Sound just said, so I'm just going to read it out quickly. Always thought beaming a bullet was just an inane concept. With a mini transporter, just materialize a block of lead or a chihuahua inside their chest. Yeah, I've always thought that it was dumb too, Dave G. Sound, because what do you need a bullet for? If you can just, and why would you even need this apparatus? You could literally just go to the transporter, and you could pick something that you would want to transport inside of someone and just do it.
Shooter, that's true. She was there just to profile the killer, but yet the episode did make her the chief, and for some reason, she was the one investigating it. She wasn't. I know she was there she seemed there just to profile the killer, which is all fine and good, but in spite of her lack of all the things that Raquel just mentioned, why? But she's clearly seemed to be leading the investigation. I don't know. Maybe not. You're right. She was profiling it. But anyway, you have notes.
And she has more than one murderer inside of her. Let's keep going. This is a crime, mystery, horror. We see this through the musical score. This is another time when we've switched the genre. We're so far away from science fiction. This is just crime, mystery, and horror. There's no science fiction here. I find this episode weird and off-putting. I also think that the young woman, although beautiful, ridiculously beautiful, and probably a very nice person in real life, she's one of the few people I haven't met from Star Trek, guilty of horrifically bad acting. I mean, it's laughably bad. I mean, when I watch it, I have to make sure that I'm not drinking anything so I don't spit whatever is in my mouth all over the place. It's really bad. This is the Duran soap opera when he sneaks up behind her and you think he's going to kiss her on the neck and just, it's really bad. It's like an old shampoo commercial. I think he's going to check her shoulder for dandruff. It's just awful. The cheesy music, it's just super cringe. Ilario's quarters would be packed up and sent to Earth. Once again, I'm going to say this as a science fiction author with a distinguished writing degree from a top 100 university and a master's degree to follow it. Ilario's quarters would be packed up and sent to Earth, not restored to order with his things. So these people, when their quarters were violated and a murder took place, the forensic team would go in, they would take in the tricorders, they would take the information, the poor soul's belongings would be packed up and they would be sent home to Earth. They would not set the whole bedroom up again. This happens with all of the victims. This makes no sense. Whoever wrote this needs to be shin kicked. I don't advocate for violence, but here, multiple shin kicks should be deployed. This is sloppy, stupid writing, and it's treating the viewer like a moron. Why is Esri tracking a killer? Not Worf and not Odo. Why is Esri alone? It's not even though she's on a team. This woman has no psychological training, and yet she's been put in the position to be a psychiatrist. So she's not even, how is she even going to write a prescription for someone if they are mentally ill? This is somebody who skipped over all of her Starfleet training. This doesn't make sense. She skipped over her education. And if anything, even if she was there to sort of profile, why wouldn't they bring in somebody from Beta Z? Why wouldn't she be on a team with Worf and Odo? It makes no sense. This just puts this very lovely, beautiful, feminine, cutie patootie of a girl who is eye candy on the screen. But if you're there for science fiction, you probably don't appreciate it. There's only so much chesticles and batting of the eyelashes that can get you, okay? The dialogue is so bad. The conclusions are truly preposterous. There is no motive here. There is no story here. This is just so we get to see the pretty girl hold a gun. And I'm sure many men would like to see this pretty young woman holding their gun.
Wow. Wowzer. Man, oh man. So, Jesus Christ. Oh, I love it. Oh, you're killing me. Okay, so what is your rating of a field of fire? Field of fire. What is your rating?
Definitely an F. This is an F. This series, as I've said before in the past, and I've caught quite a lot of hell for it, but I don't actually care. I've been saying this for years, and I'm going to say this again now that I've provided enough evidence to the 735 Club, to the Clobberers. These are the seminal ponds from which the awful filth has sprang. This is where the filth became the filth. This is an F.
Wow. So you're saying it's an F. Gotcha. As you know, I reserve my Fs for things that piss me off. It didn't piss me off or anything like that. I did think some of the stuff with Joran was interesting. I know. I mean, I don't know, but although there's so much illogic and so much dumb crap in it, I can't elevate it. Even though I thought there was some good drama there, and even the idea. But no, I'm gonna have to go with a D plus. But yeah, I hear you. And now, my friends, what we do is we will ask you, our dear friends, to give any ratings you may have and words you may have for the episode Field of Fire. Let them rip. And while number one is preparing those, starring those, our good buddy Michael Beacom could not be here tonight, but he did give me some words to say, some reviews. So he's going to be out, but he gave me okay. So I will read his reviews. We all love our buddy Michael Beacom. So number one, if you'll get those ready, I'll go with that.
I'm on it, Captain.
All right. Michael Beacom says of Field of Fire, C. He gives it a C. Says this show indicates why combining science fiction and the mystery genres are so difficult. It is why I adore the Gil Hamilton stories by Larry Niven and the Isaac Asimov stories. That being said, I hate it when BS science is made up for the purpose of making the mystery. It's much harder to work within limitations than make the magic transporter bullet. And Esri Dax out detecting Odo, he says. So there you go. Wow.
I vote for Chess Chihuahua. Chihuahua.
Who?
Chia. Kidding.
Eric Kaysen with the $2 super chat says, so does Raquel like this one or not? I'm not sure. She won't be a definitive one.
The thing is, Eric, is
On the
that like
fence.
it's so obvious that this is where they get this twisted, distorted, deranged view of Vulcans, where they think that they can just take all of the specialness away from Vulcans and make them totally vulnerable to all the things that they're not supposed to be vulnerable to.
Yeah.
And yet they think that they can maintain this species as an interesting form of character, and it's just not true. And I'm reaching out to the people of the filth right now to let them know.
Just for that, I'm retracting the plus I put on my D because I just started thinking again how much I hate that they did that to a Vulcan. I ought to drop it to an F. Now that I'm more good Lord, what they do with Vulcan. I'm tempted to change it. As the captain, I can do that. Anyway,
You
Boy of
can.
Justice says, I know a serial killer is called DS9 for killing logic storylines of my time. F rating. There you go.
I loved that one from Warrior of Justice.
Thank you, Warrior. Absolutely. Kal-El says, D. As a murder mystery episode, it's adequate at best, and it really doesn't fit in the Star Trek universe at all. Even DS9. Ezri enlisting Duran's help in catching the criminal was just a... Hang on, I gotta find your next one there, buddy. Way for DS9 to capitalize on the popularity of films like Silence of the Lambs. Cisco's decision to let Ezri continue with the investigation despite her nearly ending someone makes no sense. Hang on. All right. And potentially endangered others in the process. Chulak's explanation that logic demanded it was so stupid. As to why he committed the criminal acts seemed lazy at best. It would have been far better had... Hang on. Okay. Had he lost control, even slightly, and lashed out verbally while being questioned. One might say that it would be out of character for a Vulcan to behave in that manner, but then, again, DS9 doesn't seem to be too concerned with things like consistency when it comes to the character's behavioral patterns, or even the previously established behaviors of alien races such as the Vulcans. Too true. They really do not give a crap about that sort of thing there. You're absolutely right, buddy. Thank you so much, Kal-El, for that review. Mr. Angel says, F this episode. I have serious issues with this episode. The detective part, by lack of better words, sucks. People keep telling me that the gun is a brilliant idea, but a transporter cannot penetrate shields. So, yeah. It was really weak. Defense against it should be easy in a ship or station. Surround a room with a low-level shield. Fix, exactly. And indeed, a Vulcan serial killer? No. Look what they have done to my Vulcan boy.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And it's like this iteration of Star Trek gave them license, gave them a blueprint, it was a nincompoop blueprint for filth people to make more filth. If a character can't eat meat, and that's it, like they'll die if they eat meat. If they just begin eating meat, then all of the magic is gone. You can't make Vulcans just, subject to the same weaknesses as people. There can only be the hint of it so that we feel intrigued by it, so that we wonder, will they breach the character guidelines? This is the specialness in these alien characters. So they're just vaporizing all of the specialness out of it. Also, Katie just walked through the door. Everybody say hello to Katie.
Katie, good to see you, my dear. Hope you're doing well. All right, let's see. Where were we? Let's see. Where were we? JT Kirk says F+. From far. What? Botanic? What? How am I supposed to? What is that? Pagums for Botan. Dude, JT, what is wrong with you?
Tim fa.
Is that Klingon or what, boy? This is a holy time, a time of awakening. Oh wait, sorry. This isn't Voyager's Vulcan deleter episode. A Vulcan deleter episode. Oh, rating is for extremely. Oh, there was someone killing Vulcans on a Voyager episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't that? Is that my? Am I remembering that wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there was.
No. You're not remembering wrong.
Oh, okay. Rating is for extremely poor, no firearm safety practiced on screen. Thank you, JT Kirk. Oh man, yeah, Vulcan deleter. Forgot all about that. Scuba Pete says D plus. The only close range trajectory that hit its mark was this episode smacking into the trash bin.
In the bin.
I just volcant with this one. Thank you, buddy. Oh, Jill, antiderivative Jill says D plus, and she doesn't mean Disney plus because that would make it even worse. Maybe a Vulcan can lose their mind, but we don't learn what disease he has instead. He has instead of being a counselor and helping, she uses a serial killer in her mind to catch him. Is she Odo now? Yeah, I mean that didn't make any sense. And again, like you said, they didn't even. It's one thing if you're going to do this, you need to. If you're going to do this with a Vulcan, you really have to explain yourself. And they didn't. They gave us no explanation. You know, whatever outlandish thing you do in an episode, even if it's not a good explanation, there should at least be an explanation. And we didn't even get that at all.
Yeah.
As she killed him, this would be an F. Instead, it's a less than average crime mystery drama. I'd normally be outraged at bringing out Joran, but it makes sense. A new host would be curious.
Yeah, but that's also not the only killer that's inside of her, right?
Really?
Well, we have the other killer, right?
There's another one?
Yeah. What's his name?
I don't know.
The guy who we convinced to get out of her in that DS9 episode. I always forget the stupid guy's name.
You mean, are you talking about the guy who stole Dax but they put Dax back in? That's
right. That dude. And he had killed people and was a lunatic who wanted to, pinky in the brain, the whole galaxy. That guy.
Right. That's a good point.
It's not, you know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. Shooter says, C. I like this one, but it has its flaws. Didn't Joran end one guy once, and now he is a serial ender with 3 ends? Have I mixed that up?
Yeah.
Trek has peeping Tom technology. Creepy.
Yep. This is I was thinking the exact same thing, Shooter, when I was watching it. I was like, do I really want to go back and check on this character and look up this character again? Because I don't recall this character being like a bloodthirsty serial killer. Anyway.
It was a killer. It was pretty weird. I mean, but, yeah. I don't know. It's interesting seeing Ezri deal with this aspect of her personality, and whether you like how Ezri Dax came about. This is a least that came about. This is a least, maybe it was at least, in line with what has come before and fits with adapting to join. Hang on a second, I gotta find you. Adapting to join Starfleet Trilid, a projectile weapon. Why? Why? I like it, but not in Star Trek. Okay, a Vulcan who ends people because they smile, said sarcastically. Yep, that tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. And
it's weird. I hear you.
Yeah, antiderivative Jill, invasive procedures guy. And what's weird is that Jadzia even says at the end of that episode, now I have this, this piece of crap inside of me. And, and everyone's like, there, Jadzia, you'll be able to push this down. Just be Irish. Push the rage down. No, I'm kidding. But they, she has this little thing where she says, that now she has this guy inside of her or whatever. So yeah, it's like now she has 2 murderers. They're getting out of control. This is why you have to have an editor around in these corporate writing rooms so that an editor can say, hey, we did this before. We need to check the continuity here. Verod.
What?
Verod.
Who?
That's the stupid guy's name. Verod.
Oh, okay. Still, I like the story as a reasonable detective story with the focus on the counselor trying to profile the baddie. Has a nice touch. Again, not really Star Trek, but entertaining. Okay, Shooter, thank you. Kylo says, my response is simple. Any Esri episode is automatically C- or lower. Enough said.
Douchebag Kyle. I totally agree with you. I can't
seventh.
stand that character. I don't even
I like
think there should have been a 7th season. She is
Uh.
absolutely gorgeous. Not only that, she's very cute. Like, she's tiny and cute and adorable. And I'm sure she's a sweetheart of a woman in real life. But oh my goodness, I hate this character.
Wow. I like her enough, but I hear you. A lot of people don't. Eric K says F this episode. You ever feel like a character is being shoved down your throat to try to make you like them? I feel this way about Esri. Why was she the head of investigating? It didn't make a lot of sense. I'm with you there, buddy.
I love you, Eric K.
Why not set the station up to scan for the propellant if it is fired again? Why didn't Esri tell Odo? Why did she go to his quarters and not call Odo? Seeing inside every place was in the specs. Yeah, you got me. Did nothing made a lot of sense, did it?
Boss man, Chef is exhausted. He cannot stay awake a minute longer. So he just wants to let everybody know that he's leaving the chat. He's waving goodbye to everybody and saying good night to everyone. Good night, sweetheart.
Good night, Chef. Be good, man. Help you feel better. Enigmatic Drop Bear says D-. The story continues the denigration. The story continues the denigration, which started in later TNG episodes of the formerly high-respected Vulcan species. Yes. Ezra uses some weird trill voodoo to invoke what happened.
Oh, that's the stupid chat doing that again. Sorry, boss. I just starred that. I don't know why it went on the screen.
Nobody.
Damn it!
It's all right. I still had it starred, so we're good. Ezra uses some weird trill voodoo to invoke Joran Lecter to discover that it is apparently logical for a Vulcan to hunt people who possess photos of people with smiling faces.
And those photos wouldn't even be there. If somebody gets killed and a forensic team goes into that person's room and they clean up all the blood and they clean up the murder scene and they do their investigation, they pack up that person's stuff. They don't set the room back up for that person. Huh? Also, welcome everyone. Captain James T. Skywalker.
Oh, what's up, Cap? How you doing? Okay, let's see. Good to see you, Cap. Ezra uses. Okay, let's see. Oh, sorry, got that one. The surveillance and transporter technology that enabled the assassinations are good fodder for a science fiction story. However, they cannot work within established Star Trek lore. The two technologies are easy to propagate become pervasive and are too powerful for Star Trek stories. Mm-hmm. Imagine being able to arbitrarily locate and destroy any target on a whim.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you could use the transporter technology for the same thing. I want to transport an anvil inside of Keiko's head. Beam it in.
There you go. And see, that's the process. They would think they would have thought of all that kind of stuff. But no, I mean, this thing, yeah, absolutely good point. Odo and his team are shown to be fairly inept in this, and the only reason for doing this is to tell an Ezri-centric story.
Right?
Yes, very contrived stuff's what you're saying. I hear you there. Lisa says, F, lol, LOL. Sybil Dax gets in touch with the killer inside. A Vulcan picking off happy people? Why would a Vulcan care? Where's the logic? Weapon was interesting, but there are better ways. Yeah, it's just I think that's the worst thing for me, Lisa, is the whole Vulcan thing. It's really stupid.
Yeah, and imagine what would happen if we beamed an anvil directly into Keiko's brain. Imagine we'd hear it then. Just kidding.
Indeed, it's just. Simply Steve says F rating for flat plot, real title, Fool or Liar. Did Esri shoot first? No, Esri did Esri shoot first? Esri shoot first? Did she? I don't know. She's unqualified to investigate. Han shot first, and that much. And he shot only actually to investigate anything. Duran seemed to be unhinged for a Vulcan. No, he wasn't. Duran's not a Vulcan. He's a Trill. But I think you're talking about the
Duran
bad
was
guy.
the Trill
He was the
guy
Trill
who
murderer.
was checking Esri for dandruff and whispering sweet nothings in her ear like they were on Days of Our Lives.
He was the one bidening her. He must have skipped Culinar Day.
Right? Steve.
Yes. Yep. Fanti outside. He was the man who said F this episode has failed. I mean, so sorry. This episode has failed as a murder mystery. They got the person correct, but got the wrong guy. Everyone knows the man who hated laughter was Morbid Grimsby. Indeed, he is. Why would the quarters need to be reset? With the scans, they could recreate them in the holosuite. This is the long line of Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Scooby-Doo, anyone can catch killer.
Right? And he would have got away with it too. If it wasn't for that pesky Trill.
I can't. Oh, there we go.
Ooh, Brian Hepburn's here. Good evening.
Hey, Brian. Say hey, Brian. What's up, man? Okay.
Oh, and Pop Culture Republic has to scoot. Thank you for joining us, Pop Culture Republic. Good luck with your new YouTube channel, and wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for being here, old friend. Feel free to pop in anytime. You know, we appreciate your company.
Thanks, Brian. Good to see you. I caught two I don't know what that is. MU. That must be in some kind of scientific equation I'm not familiar with. This an early way would use a transporter beam out internal organ and then beam it back in. How did you like the deep cut from 1972 one-off TV special?
Sick.
I'm working on it.
I'm not sure what you just said, but imagine like what you've just filled my head with was that you could actually beam someone's organ out of their body and like out into space. That would be very, very mean. And also Lenrod brought up Anvil. He said, unrelated, Anvil rocks. I think I know one Anvil song, Lenrod, Hot Rod. Isn't it called Dogs on Leads? It's like, Dogs on Leads. Anyway, just some trivia. Let's keep going.
Boosh McFadden says D. Gives it a D. I know I watched this episode, but I have absolutely no recollection of this beyond Esri plodding through the plot with all of the joy of the wet fight. Making Vulcans more human is dumb. Yes. Thank you, sir. Victor Fontaine says agreed. What's up with the Vulcan hate? Yeah, I don't know. It was always kind of weird to me that we got very little to do with Vulcans with TNG and any other Trek later, until at least Voyager, have had a regular Vulcan. But Larry says it's fanfic.
Yay! So true.
Not good fanfic.
Oh, Lenrod said that's Accept, but Accept is also a great band. What's a good Anvil song, Lenrod? Tickle my brain. Tell me a great Anvil song. I can't remember.
Chris Persia says, wait, I just got back from cleaning up 30 L, I guess,
liters
of spillage. Liters? Okay, let's see. We don't use those here. Can I get confirmation that Raquel did not enact like this episode, or was she stockpiling raspberries for a pie? I don't know, sir.
Love you, Chris. I think Chris actually managed to get all the water cleaned up because he actually sent a review, a 3-parter that's also in the kitty there, boss, if you want to go and check your folder.
Oh, all right.
And guess who just walked through the door?
Who?
Rod Thunderheart.
Hey, Rod.
Hey, sweetheart.
What is up with your bad self, buddy? Hope you are doing well. Let's see. Chris Persia says E. He gave it an E. An E. That's lower than an F. I have no idea what they were smoking at NBC. Well, NBC didn't make it, but I hear you. But why rehash old ground with not accepting Giron? With
Yep.
not accepting Giron, even though they already dedicated an entire episode to that with Jadzia.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, she
Although
went
using-
into the dirty, gross grotto, right? That was the grotto episode.
Right. Although using Giron's experience to catch a serial killer is intriguing, but not enough to explain why Vulcan would become a serial killer after experience personal trauma. Basically, you know what, Vulcans? There are plenty of humans and other species that, suffered the same losses and didn't go do this. It's so not Vulcan. It's asinine.
It's just weird.
That opens the possibility that every Vulcan was potentially walking a sociopath.
Yeah, it makes them, and Chris is right, it makes them just like human beings. So it just removes all of the specialness from the character. If Vulcans are incapable of regulating their emotions to such a high degree, all the magic is gone. Might as well never talk about Vulcans ever again.
Joseph Dredd says,
Lenrod, metal on metal. I know that song.
Joseph Dredd says B-. DS9 doesn't portray Vulcans accurately. The Vulcan arms smuggler from the Maquis art. Yeah, this reminds me of the serial killer episode of Voyager. Oh, called Meld. I vaguely. It's barely coming back to me. Kalal had another one. He said it's a derivative of Jill. Same here. If my reviews were actual homework, the grade I would probably get at best is a B+.
He's talking about, I think he's talking about DS9 in general, but I wasn't sure.
All right. Dave G. Sound says F++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++ with added chesticles. My new favorite word. Thank you, Raquel.
You're very welcome.
The AI show says C minus. Alternative titles: Targets 2.0, movie with Boris Karloff, the last movie he ever made, isn't it? And Chulak, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yeah.
Jack the Sniper comes to Star Trek. Essentially, half Charles Starkweather and half DC Sniper in this crime marinated episode.
Oh,
Thank you so
yes.
much. Well said as always.
Yeah,
AI.
that's a very good review.
F from Sean Carter says these writers think they're so clever by creating a troubled, a
It's
Vulcan,
so old
but
now.
they're just exposing their inability to write within boundaries by compelling lazy.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
being to be compelling, and that is so
Big compelling,
true. If you turn, if Vulcans are the same as human beings, all the magic's gone.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Warrior of Justice with the $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Warrior of Justice. I appreciate that. Hello, I need to call about a blurter. Vulcans. Yes. Thank you for that, Warrior. Appreciate you. Raquel, face it, Jadzia had many guns inside of her. Says Eric came for $2. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate the super chat, buddy.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Well, who's ready to kick this one episode away?
Please, let's just do that, boss.
Our next episode is Shamira.
Chimera. Dun, 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 dun. Let me get my piece of paper. Here we go. Chimera, folks.
Oh,
Season 7, episode.
Okay, gotcha. Don't worry about it, Kello. Go ahead. You're good, buddy.
Chimera is season 7, which shouldn't exist. Episode 14, which also shouldn't exist. If you're following along with your reader, this is production code 564. We've all been watching this, sadly, since February 15th, 1999. Now I'm going to read extemporaneously, that means I haven't read it before, from Wikipedia, which is user-generated and likely sucks, but we're going to do it anyway. While returning to Deep Space Nine, a runabout carrying Odo and Chief Miles O'Brien is boarded by an unfamiliar changeling. This changeling, who calls himself Loss, has no knowledge, not lost, has no knowledge of the Dominion or its founders, but is eager to learn from Odo about his kind. Odo infers that Los, like himself, is one of the 100 changelings the founders sent into the galaxy as infants in order to learn about the universe. On DS9, the two changelings discuss their past. Los tells Odo, that should be pasts, there's more than one past there. Los tells Odo that although he does not support the founders' agenda of conquest, he does not trust humanoids and just wishes to avoid them. Odo introduces Los to the practice of linking, physically joining their liquid bodies, a very fulfilling experience for changelings. Los guesses that Odo would have returned to join the founders and experience their great link had he not fallen in love with the Bajoran officer Kira Nerys. Los attempts to the love boat. Los attempts to convince Odo to embrace his potential as a changeling rather than trying to blend in with humanoids, and behaves rudely and condescendingly towards Odo's humanoid friends. He suggests that Odo join him to travel the galaxy in order to find more of the 100 and form their own great link. Odo is tempted and tried, especially when Los demonstrates his skill at shapeshifting into unusual forms. Los causes a disturbance when he transforms into fog in the station's promenade district, drawing the attention of two Klingon officers. Seeing what they assume is a founder, they confront Los violently. What? Who wrote this? Shin kicks. By shapeshifting, he is able to escape the attack and kill one of the Klingons. Los is arrested for killing the Klingon, although Odo protests that he acted in self-defense. Los doubts he will receive a fair trial given humanoids' inherent mistrust of changelings. Kira, who loves Odo and wants to give him the opportunity to travel with his own kind, frees Los and tells everyone that he escaped. Privately, she lets Odo know that Los was waiting on Corrales 3. Odo meets Los on Corrales, but tells him that he is wrong to believe that solids cannot be trusted, and that he is staying with Kira. Who wrote this? Back on DS9, Kira tells Odo that he doesn't have to pretend to be humanoid with her. He shows her his love by transforming into a glowing golden mist surrounding her. And that is all Wikipedia has to say about the Love Boat. What did you think of Chimera, boss?
Well,
Gary!
hey,
Gary's here. Gary Ambrosia's here.
Gary Ambrosia. What's up, sir? Thank you so much for that, man. You're too kind. Good to see the great Gary Ambrosia's here, folks.
Follow
Hail to
that
the
guy.
clubhouse. Love you guys. That is all. Clobber on to you, sir.
We love
We
you.
thank you so much. The great Gary
Follow that
Ambrosia,
guy.
my friends. Yes.
Ooh,
Yes,
Canadian
indeed.
Spider-Man's here.
What?
Yep.
What? What do you say
true.
there? Canadian Spidey is here. Does
He
whatever
is
Canadian
here.
Spider
He is
can.
here.
All right, man. Take our mind off of that episode for a little bit, anyway. Okie dokie. Well, okay. All right. I got it listed as the third episode. It was the second. It doesn't. Who cares? At this point, who cares, really, right? I got the wrong number on there. I ain't worried about it.
Oh, boss. Who cares
I
about
got-
that?
What the crap? Okay. Yeah, J.G. Hertzler, great actor.
Mm-hmm.
Always got to acknowledge him, I guess. Performance, I suppose. So changelings can fly at warp speeds through space, and
And get
Warp-
inside of a warp bubble?
or at least impulse, right? When he overtakes a runabout at the beginning. You know, if they can do the kind of crap that Las can do, I don't know why they ever needed an Ishimadar, but maybe that's just me.
Well, yeah, because they can penetrate a hull even when it's at warp.
Yeah, I mean, were they at warp or were they stopped? Well, they'd stopped.
Well,
at
even if they
impulse,
were
but still.
stopped,
But-
how did they get through the hull? Like
He got
one
in
would
there
assume
somehow.
that a spaceship, One would
Right.
assume a spaceship is airtight.
Yes, I don't know how the hell he got into the runabout. And then I don't know, but listen, we could just forget about that for a second. He said this. Yeah, he's an a-hole, but Odo tries to counterpoint him as much as he possibly could, which is all fine and good. But there's another example of quote unquote writers, science fiction writers, and they're not science fiction writers, but writers of a show that's supposed to be science fiction. Let's put it like that. Attacking humanity, attacking Roddenberry's ideas of an evolved humanity by saying that no, no good. Look, laws, I guess, it's one thing for you write the character who's never really been around humans, but he's been around a lot of other humanoids and he hates them all. To be the counterpoint to Odo, but Odo was starting to believe him. Now he did hold his ground, and he did believe in humanoids. He didn't come over to Loss's way of thinking, which is all fine and good. But this is just, I don't know. This episode is boring. It doesn't really go anywhere. I don't really care. And some of that weirdo linking crap between him and Loss.
I'm going to talk about that in my notes.
Yeah, go for the notes, because I don't know. I mean,
this is what happens when you have most of Hollywood, many people in Hollywood, sometimes most people in Hollywood, quitting school in middle school and then using their television series or their films to try and use hyperdidacticism, sociology, corporate hegemony, to try and shape culture, to try and shape the minds of those who are watching, even though many, if not most, quit school in middle school. Yes, they're great leaders. Oh my goodness, you got a present.
Rod Thunderheart. Thank you, Rod. Rod with a super chat, $11 Canadian super chat says, "Hail Clobbered and Raquel. I'm afraid I only saw DS9 in passing, literally when nothing else was on. I was fascinated with Odo and the capitalistic Ferengi quark, but I wasn't watching much TV. I was BMX, so you're riding bikes.
He was BMXing. Nice.
BMXing. Understandable. Well, thank you so much, Rob. And again, thank you, Gary, out there. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Rod Thunderheart. Make sure that you follow that man. Follow that car. That is a terrific guy who wrote a book. And he is from my neck of the woods. That guy is from Alberta. Well, I'm not from here, but I live here. And and he could sure use your support. Okay, I'm just going to get into my notes.
Okay, everyone hold off your reviews till we give the go-ahead.
I'm just going to click this review.
We'll click yours, AI, but always please hold off till we give the go-ahead if you would. No
okay,
problem.
So here are my notes. So if you're new around here and you're like, why does he keep asking her about her notes? It's because I've been watching Star Trek for like more than 45 years. And when Clobby and I decided to sit down and do this, I thought, what could I add? And so in addition to vetting a text for the show, I take notes. I actually take out a piece of paper and I use a pencil and I take notes. And I just, sometimes they're reflections, sometimes they're things that I know about the show. So here they are. Why does Loss choose to take shape as Dr. Mora, but claims to be a Varalon? This is dangerously close to Vorlon in B5, and further evidence to this that makes me not like this too much is the Varalon are not listed as a Star Trek character or species. So this is also written by Renee Echevarria, who has, according to the block text, I believe it's Renee Echevarria, who basically said that he thought the entire idea of the Prime Directive was stupid, so he wanted to write an entire episode just making fun of Gene Roddenberry's ideas. And the block text has many, many quotes from him sort of crap talking Star Trek. So this is why I think it's sort of weird that Loss chooses to look like Dr. Mora, because, he should have done his homework there. And this Varalon species is kind of weird, too much like Vorlon. And of course, like the boss said, it's J.G. Hertzier, which is, of course, General Martok. We have more love story. The snuggling is putrid. It's so disgusting and revolting. Every time I see Kira, Nerys, and Odo kissing, it's like a mama bird feeding her baby bird. You know, and it's that revolting. You know, it's just this
Oh.
automatic sense of revulsion, right? So there's copious amounts of it here. No security where a changeling is concerned, despite the fact that there is a war and a threat of total annihilation. Okay, Kira brings up the sexual nature of melding as Odo melds with loss. Now, we have covered this before. If you would like to take exception with this, I actually don't care. Please forward your complaints somewhere else. I don't actually care. So don't DM me. Just go back and look at the episodes where we discussed it, because there is plenty of evidence that melding is sexual in nature. This is reinforced on the promenade when Odo is asked to meld in public. And so here he's basically cheating on Kira Nerys. It's not very nice. And this is an intimacy shared here. And it's more of this hedonistic stuff that is very fast and loose. In DS9, we see a lot of hedonism. We see a lot of, discussion about, partner swapping and multiple partners and things like that going on. But here, this is, for me, I'm sorry, this is just flat out cheating. And yet we're asked as the audience to pretend like it's not, even though we know it is. And what reinforces this is that Loss even expresses jealousy of Kira and their relationship. So we know that it's sexual in nature. Kira even says, well, it's way more than just melding, because she knows that it's sexual. And then Odo doesn't want to do it in public because it's too intimate. And then we have Loss expressing jealousy of Kira and their relationship. So there's definitely something going on here. And the morality of it's not quite on, is it? If you really love someone and you're in a monogamous relationship, you shouldn't act like, that monogamy doesn't matter. So I don't like that idea at all. It's all about relationship insecurity thereafter. So Kira keeps expressing how insecure she is. And it's very obvious because we have this Lost character who has been intimate with Odo. And now he is jealous and wants Odo to leave Kira. And so, of course, Kira is going to react to being cheated on and the possible loss of Odo. So this is all not Star Trek. It's all very The Love Boat. If The Love Boat were a porn. So Pern. So I just don't like it. And how could Loss be fog? If Loss is fog, he would be breathed into lungs and absorbed. So
Right.
this is, I don't like this. I think this is dumb. We're getting back into this science fantasy instead of science fiction. Odo transforms the episode into a lesson on prejudice. Meanwhile, the founders are trying to wipe out the United Federation of Planets. That is to say that the founders want to take their place as gods over the humanoids and over all solid creatures. So we know this through the Jens character. We know this through the female founder, like the queen founder. These are gods, and they want to literally lord over all living solid things. So we're meant to see loss, and here's where this sociology comes in. We're very cheap middle school sociology. We're meant to see loss as this vulnerable minority, and so we see Odo coming forward to say, oh, you're being prejudiced against him, and oh, you're doing all these things. But this is absurd to anybody with a more than a double-digit IQ, because this is a race seeking worship. Not only are they seeking worship as gods, but they're actually seeking to subjugate all life as we know it. So all solid life, all life in everywhere, in every galaxy. So it's absurd. And so the rhetoric is awful. The writing is terrible. The acting is even worse. But the sociological fecal finger painting. This is fecal finger painting. They're finger painting in your own feces. It just doesn't work for me. I think that what happens here is morally wrong. It's morally corrupt. And I say that as an agnostic. I'm not some pearl clutching person here. I just think it's wrong. He openly cheats on Kira. And then, like I said, I don't like this whole the back half of this episode where it's turned into an episode about prejudice and otherness when really and there's a concerted effort to make Loss into this vulnerable minority who's being persecuted. Meanwhile, this is absolutely absurd to anyone who's watching Star Trek, because this is a race of gods seeking worship and the subjugation of all living beings. So
Oh, Mohammed Said, hello there, and Lemon Pie, hello.
hello.
Welcome to you both. And have a good night, Gary Ambrosia. Thank you for being here, sir.
Night, Gary.
It's always an honor, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Well, let's see here. Yeah. It's a doozy, isn't it? Well. Those were your notes, right?
Those were my notes, boss.
What is your rating of Chimera?
It's F for FU.
Mine's an F minus. Just for the, I mean, I like, JG fine and all that stuff, but it's just always, the episodes always annoyed me, the arrogance and the total unlikability of this character. You could have, the whole concept of him finding Odo and stuff could have been really interesting. You could have done really something with it, because, with a changeling that doesn't know anything about his background, same as Odo, another one of the 100, as they call it, and you wasted it on this garbage. That could have been interesting, and I just don't think they knew what they were doing. So that's just me. All right, everybody. I'll now ask you for your reviews of Chimera. And number one, we'll get those ready when I will bring us the review of our good buddy, Michael Beacom. So get
you heard
to
the
it,
boss.
gang.
Fire at will.
Okay. Firing at Renee, really, but Chimera, review Michael Beacom. He gives it an F and says, ew. He does say that. I'm not kidding. He wrote it. He says, from start to finish, just bad, wrong, and uncomfortable. Odo and Loss linking, when linking is clearly defined sexually, is just distasteful on every level. Loss is a jerk. Odo is acting like a jerk. The writers yet again use the characters to voice their deep dislike of the vision that humanity can do, can and will develop and grow. Something I say a lot, and I'm with them on that. They were very ahead of their prime. They were very ahead of their time, preaching filth ideals like humans are all speciesist. I am sure that the STD crowd hold this one dear. I never want to see it again. Wow, Michael Beacom roasting it.
Roasty toasty.
It. Nice. I absolutely, completely concur. AI, I'll use your second review then, okay? Our friend, the AI show, thank you for being here, by the way, says D+. Let's see. Optional titles, change you can't believe in, and shift happens. I like it. Might have been a decent episode about changelings had the Odo Kira love story not gotten in the way. Good point. I think that's all he has. That's all he did. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thank you, AI. Boosh McFadden says D. I remember this one. They made him too powerful. Becoming gas left me at a loss for a word. Good one. It was meh and didn't go anywhere. The prejudice was so forced and cringe. The love stuff, very boo. Yeah, I especially detested the yet another lecture from Quark. Now I remember. Okay, I should make notes, but I'm too lazy. But let me tell you something. DS9 writers of 30 years ago who are not even caring about it anymore. Ski-roo you. Because, look, if you're going to preach to us how shitty humans are through Quark, I like Quark. I like Armin Shiverman. I like Quark. But do you realize for a second that you're the alien being, this fictional alien being that you've constructed to constantly preach to humans about how lousy we are is of a society that treats women like property and doesn't even allow them to wear clothes. But he's preaching to us.
They have
You don't
no
even see
basic
that?
human rights. They have no humanoid
No
rights
human
whatsoever.
rights. No any rights. Human or
None.
Ferengi.
None whatsoever.
But that guy, who is, by the way, he's not like he's Rom or someone who can be reasonable and wants to change it. He's totally for it. Remember, Quark's totally fine with it. It's not like he's a revolutionary who thinks it's a shame that women are treated like that. He's all for it. But he's preaching to us about how bad we are. And you idiots are writing that. Every time you write a Quark speech, when he gave that speech to Odo about how he shouldn't do all that crap in front of Kira, it was just like the ones he's given to other people about humans. You're a bunch of imbeciles. Idiots!
Just imagine
Jesus.
a woman who's not allowed to vote, not allowed to have a job, not allowed to have money, not allowed to leave the house, not allowed to wear clothes, sitting around chewing bugs,
Right,
and feeding it and putting it inside of a man's mouth, just constantly, and that's your life. That's
right.
the character. That's the species they choose to
Preach to us about it.
to say that human beings are garbage.
Yeah,
Great job, everybody. Great job.
It's idiot humans writing those characters that way. So in Hollywood, of course, again, it's the degeneracy of Hollywood always shines through. Linrod says she wore a raspberry beret. I like it. Shooter says D-. This one had potential. Another changeling that is not affiliated with the founders, but it falls flat when the new changeling has the same appreciation for solids as the founders. What the hell is with the fog and fire? What in the name of physics? I mean, he's a super scroll too. I mean, he can do anything.
Yeah.
Physics are these writers thinking? Is Odo doomed to become an a-hole? Nah. Kuroda wins the day with love and aw.
Don't forget, he's also Tin Man. Fog, fire, and Tin Man.
And Tin Man, that's right. Because he could fly. Apparently, he could be a spaceship. Or a being that can fly through space. Now, I know Odo doesn't need to breathe, so he could probably fly through space and fine. But anyway, I'm sure those who have watched the entire series will see a glaring issue with this one. I will bring it up in a review when it is no longer a secret. Oh, okay, yeah, I think I know.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's a good perk there, Shooter.
Yep.
Can't say anything yet. Simply Steve says, rating H for Real title, Come Here You. Odo was at a loss for words. Oh, two of you guys, huh? What's wrong with you, you smart aleckies? Aye, Odo. More Odo and Lost Odo meld for LG swinging pleasure points. Oh, Odo a cheater. Who knew? Lol. Boring episode again. Yeah, it seems to me what this show does best. Jill says, F. This presents an unenlightened idea that the hate Lost feels for solids is their fault because they'll always be prejudiced since he is different. Therefore, he will always be a victim. They make a Klingon a bigot to demonstrate this. It's just false that Odo is only there for Kira, as past events have the future events will show. It's just false that Odo is only there for Kira. Right, exactly.
It's
I'm
true.
sorry I went too slow with that, Jill. As past events have have and future events will show. Very true. He cares for his people but rejects their choices. Well said on both counts, Jill. Thank you. Lisa says, F. Speaking of filth, did I just watch Odo cheating on Kira with a man? Yeah, I think so. Am I wrong? The founders are a sea of goo that has been corrupted by the delusional Hollywood writer and their fantasies. Well, I mean, according to that episode where we first meet the other founders, they're the ones that established that they seem to have male and female founders, right? If not, they should have made them not that, but they didn't. So, of course, it was at a time when that wasn't the kind of issue that would get you in trouble. So, anyway, Phantom Outsider says, F for are you freaking kidding me? Don't be prejudiced against my people. They only want to crush and enslave you. The nerve. Terrible concept. Terrible story. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's very difficult to swallow the concept of prejudice against these founders when they literally want to subjugate like every galaxy. These are people. These are puddles of golden goo that believe they are gods, and that everything, all other any other life form, is inferior. Like who wrote this? Like, I know who wrote this, but shin kicks.
The Tetrarch of Apathy cares. It says, do better, Space Nine. Do better. Indeed, he says, hey, oh, this has got another one by AI. Sorry, AI, I knew there was another one. Says, apparently, for changelings, love means never having to say you're sorry. So, surprised Odo didn't say to Lyra that this too solid might melt and resolve itself. The great Eric K says, F. How did he get in the ship? Unless O'Brien can survive in a vacuum. Maybe he's a changeling also? Yeah, maybe. I thought Odo was in a committed relationship. Laws is a rude douchebag.
Yep.
He is that.
Right, Eric?
Yeah. Odo should have just flown off, and we could have been done with the Kira Odo crap. How was he fire?
How is he fog?
I don't know.
How is he Tin Man? Oh, Jill's calling for the Clawbony when you're done with Eric.
Okay, you got it. What is he burning off to make that? I don't know. Yeah. It makes zero sense. If vapor, he would lose matter. Mm-hmm. Cisco, Worf, and Martok would want to see how he escaped. So stupid. They would have a full investigation. Yeah, they just let Kira off. They're like, everybody just doesn't give a crap on this show sometimes. What did you say? I'm seeing. What was it?
Boss, the 735 Club, the Clobberers are calling for the Clawbony. They want the Clawbony.
You want it? You got it.
Oh,
thank you, Eric K, for the super chat. He says, Kira has seen Odo in his natural form many times, plus alone. I cannot forget, no matter how much I want the goo between her legs. I want the goo between her legs during the massage. Wow, dude.
But he's not being vulgar. He's not being gross. He's mentioning that whenever Odo gives Kira a massage, he actually penetrates her body, her corporeal being, by being Mr. Goo Hands. And so, there's the opening scene where we get to watch a mama bird feed a baby bird, and then we get like the goo rub down. We get the golden goo rub down, right? So Eric is correct. It's not like she hasn't seen him in that form or experienced him in that form. And also, Odo's previous lover also experienced him in his normal form. There was no reason for him to turn into the golden cloud.
Indeedishness. Let's knock this turkey out, shall we?
Let's do it, boss.
The great Scuba Pete says F. I like to think I can trust solids, unlike loss, especially after this episode takes a huge jump. Oh dear,
Dave G Sound is leaving.
Oh,
Oh
Dave
my
G
goodness.
Sound.
Good
Have a
night,
good night.
honey.
Thank you for being here, my friend.
We
Good
love
to
you.
see
Good night, sweetheart.
Happy Father's Day to you, sir.
Happy
And to
Father's
everybody else
Day
out there.
to all of the fathers in your life.
Indeedishness. Stephen at KLL says F. This isn't an episode of Star Trek or even DS9. It's been turned into a lecture about intolerance and bigotry. But unless the TOS episode, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, which shows. Oh, but unlike Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, sorry about that. The futility of such bias. This episode just likes to point fingers at seemingly everyone, including the audience. Odo, very well said, sir, by the way. Odo, having worked with Cisco for years, suddenly questioning the man's ethics and worldview.
Right.
Very good point. Was completely out of character, and more importantly, it has no place in the Star Trek universe.
Right.
Law's attitude towards monoforms, although condemnable, comes from a place of ignorance. Odo, on the other hand, decides to throw away his experiences from the last 6 seasons on a whim. So when is Kira going to be punished for freeing Loss? Oh, that's right. Consequences don't exist in this universe as long as you're a senior officer. Yep. This episode is easily skippable on a rewatch of the series. Boy, howdy. Thank you, Kal-El. I'm right there on the same page with you. Great stuff.
That's a great review.
Yeah. It's just not good.
No. Season 7 should not exist for DS9.
Exactly. The great enigmatic drop bear says D-. Introducing a lone challenging from the 100. Excuse me, changeling. I'm having that kind of night. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, boss.
Introducing a lone changeling from the 100, who is highly adept with his abilities, is great material for a classic allegorical Star Trek story. Unfortunately, it fell apart because it depicted our Federation as a bunch of intolerant bigots. Quark's bigotry monologue was an unsuccessful attempt at sidestepping this. It would appear that Renee Echevarria missed a fair bit of TNG, where there were numerous episodes about the Federation's tolerance and non-bipedal species. A brilliant and important point, ED, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
This episode continues the clear trend away from Star Trek's core ethos. Rather than a better us in an optimistic future, we are depicted as a bunch of bigoted, fearful, and intolerant idiots.
Yep.
So true about the show. I'm really beginning to change all my views on it, to be honest. I didn't look at it as intensely as I have this time around, and it's not easy. The Tetrarch of Apathy says, interesting that a member of a race of gods, quote unquote, pulls Zeus by turning himself into a shower of gold for Kira with amorous intent.
Mm-hmm. Shame she's not a swan, hey?
Hey. Yeah.
Just ridiculous.
Are we done with this turkey?
Yeah, let's just get on with that.
All right, let's drop this puppy. Go on to our next episode, folks.
How dare you not want to be subjugated? What's your problem even, Clobby? I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly-ishness.
Jeez.
All right. At least we got old Vic Fontaine for those of you who like that sort of thing.
Yay.
All right. Ready? Go for it.
Here we are, folks. Bada bing, bada bang. Season 7, episode 15, prod code 566. We all started watching this for the very first time on February 22nd, 1999. Now I'm going to be reading from Wikipedia. It's probably going to suck. It might even be wrong, but we'll correct it. It's just a launching point. It's just a summary. Let's do it. Gillian Bashir and Miles O'Brien enjoy an evening in the Hollow Suite at Vic Fontaine's Hotel Lounge. when the lounge suddenly changes into a noisy cabaret. Frankie Eyes, a mobster and Vic's longtime rival, shows up to throw Vic out, announcing that he has bought the hotel. Bashir and O'Brien try to delete the character of Frankie from the simulation, but to no avail. Bashir learns that short of resetting the simulation, Frankie can only be eliminated by means that are appropriate to the 1960s Las Vegas setting, since resetting the program would result in Vic forgetting all of the experiences he has shared with the Deep Space Nine crew. They recruit their friends and crewmates to defeat Frankie within the structure of the simulation. Although Captain Benjamin Sisko initially dislikes the program, citing the pervasive racism against people of color in the real 1960s Las Vegas, his girlfriend, Cassidy Yates, eventually persuades him to participate. DS9 crew members Kira and Odo befriend Frankie and his bodyguard Cheech in a simulation, and learned that Frankie works for crime boss Carl Zemo, who expects to receive a share of the hotel's huge daily profits. The crew hatches a plan to rob the hotel casino the night before Zemo arrives by breaking into the safe in Frankie's account room, hoping Zemo will have Frankie killed in retaliation for not having his money.
Wow.
Sisko will pose as a high-stakes roller to draw attention away from the count room. Yates will start a fight with O'Brien to distract the security guard, as Redax, posing as a waitress, will bring the accountant in the count room a drugged martini, forcing him to leave the safe unattended, and Nog will crack the safe.
Good night, Chris.
Good night, Chris.
Good night, Chris. Go ahead.
Continue. Oh, and Chris, would you please wish your dad happy Father's Day for me?
Yeah.
Good night,
Happy
honey.
Father's Day.
The evening of the heist presents several glitches to the plan, especially when Nog discovers that the lock on the safe is of a different type than expected. While he struggles to crack the lock, Zemo arrives a day early to pick up his cash. Vic and the others fabricate enough distractions to stall him until Nog can open the safe, and he and Odo slip away with the cash. After Zemo finds the safe empty, his thugs lead Frankie and Cheech out of the casino, and Vic's lounge is restored to the way it was originally. Vic takes the stage with his band, and Sisko, why? And Sisko joins him in a duet of The Best Is Yet to Come. And that is all Wikipedia has to say about bada bing, bada bang, bada bad.
Bada butt.
Bada butt. Bada butt?
Bada butt.
Okay, so what'd you think of this steaming pile of dog crap?
Wow. It's time for me. This is a bad pun since it's about music a lot in this episode. But it's time for me to be my broken record self. All right. I wouldn't mind the diversion once in a while, frivolous or lighthearted excursion to the holodeck to have the once in a while little fun stories, or the little stories that are just meant to be cute, meant to be just something like lighthearted. I would not mind that on a show that earns it. But this show does this all the time. They do this so much. It's just not, there's nothing special about it, or even when you go, that was kind of goofy but fun. I can't even do that with this one because, again, even on TNG, they didn't do this kind of stuff that much. How many either out and out straight up comedies do they do on this show? And this one is pretty much that, right? In this case, it's just another screwed up holodeck story, and I get tired of those. I have a very short fuse on those anyway, and I just don't really. I really like James Darren. I really like a lot of the music in the episode, but that doesn't make an episode of Deep Space Nine. We're so far away from a compelling weekly science fiction story now, a show that this was one of, even a bad episode that just like a normal episode, but just not good, I'll try to pay attention and try to give you a good reason why I don't think it's any good. This is one when I don't have to even think about it. I just when I'm watching it, I am trying not to fall asleep or just to tune out altogether. I like I said, I guess people just like these characters so much they'll watch them do anything. That's part of my theory about this show now. And I like the
You
characters.
could go with my theory, which is that people actually haven't watched this show. At least all of the really loud voices on social media who say it's the bestest ever. They haven't actually watched it.
I don't
And
know.
when you
Could
engage
be.
them in conversation, you quickly find out that they haven't watched it because you'll say things to them and they'll be instantly offended and they'll completely freak out, snap their crayons, lose it. And meanwhile, they haven't even watched the episode.
It could be. Look, yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you, Jill. I mean, I just don't know how to explain it otherwise. But again, I'm going to do this every time. I don't care if anyone gets tired of hearing it. The original series in 2 seasons, hell, in 3 really, even though the 3 didn't have one, had 3.5, really 4 comedy episodes, and episodes that were more lighthearted. They were kind of diversionary episodes. All of them were really good too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 79, out of 79, right? Well, out of what is 100 something? How many 100 episodes of Deep Space Nine are there? 100 and
A Deep Space Nine, 176.
176. If we went back and counted, and I might do it one day, the dumbass Ferengi comedies, the silly holodeck comedies, which I've again 1 or 2 were mildly amusing. They're just playing baseball. Whatever, man. I bet you would. First of all, you probably get 20 or 30 at least, and that seems like a lot. That's because that's not what this show's supposed to be about. Anyway, go with your notes. Don't listen to me. I'm so irritated with crap like this. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Why are we doing this again?
At this point, you have less than a season to go, and you're wasting time with this crap.
And
you're in a war, but you're playing on holodeck. You're in a war.
Yeah, and the bad thing is now we know through academic surveys using various survey instruments that were applied academically by scholars, and then also these polls that have been conducted with various groups, that the reason why DS9 is so popular with normies is because they say it is the least Star Trek of all of the Star Treks.
Well, that makes sense.
They love the drama, they love the comedy, but the thing is if you're somebody who likes science fiction, there's nothing for you here. These are people who aspire to be on shows like CSI. These are people who aspire to be on, these daytime dramas and these evening drama shows and even the soap operas. These are not people who sit down and research scientific ideas. They don't call someone up and say, how does this process work? What's the chemical process here? Or they don't call a physicist and say, how does this work? And that's the heart of science fiction writing. And so if you really love science fiction, you're after science. You're after these interchanges, the massaging of the ideas and the anxieties we have about technology, about medical advancements, about encounters with extraterrestrials, about us, reaching out into space and what we'll see when we get there and what we'll reach back. That's not what this show is about. And anyone who says that this show is about that is a nincompoop. And they have clearly never watched this show, because this show is mainly a mixed bag variety show that relies very heavily on comedy, very heavily on mystery, drama, and crime, cheap dime store crime novels. That's what DS9 is. That's this iteration. Anyways, I'm going to hit my notes because I'm starting to get too preachy.
Notes. No.
Another holodeck malfunction. Now it's packaged as a jack-in-the-box. And this is just a nonsense, because what it essentially is a Nintendo Bowser added to improve the game. This is Ocean's 11 done on Star Trek. I did like that Cisco rejects retconning, and he says, if you live in a retcon, you will forget what actually happened. I agree with Cisco. You should not retcon history. If you retcon history, you're going to forget all of the naughty, nasty, psychotic, and horrible things people did before. Esri has no spots on her legs. She needs opaque nylons or some type of tights because, trills are supposed to have spots from the tip of their head to the tip of their toes. I've never understood how or why the count room hologram would vomit. So we're supposed to beat the computer, and we're supposed to be using the parameters of 1962 casino or hotel. So then why does Julian get to use his little mystery potion that just vanishes into the glass to make the person run into the washroom to vomit? And why would a hologram vomit? It's just very strange, because otherwise you could just, you could take the gun, make them sit down, tie them up, and you could beat them that way. Because remember, this is just an added Bowser, which they're calling a Jack in the Box. And all you have to do is defeat the Bowser. So there are multiple ways to defeat the Bowser where you don't have to go through all of this crap. So I think the writers room, the corporate writers room should have massaged the ideas a little bit more. Avery Brooks sings. I would just like to say that Avery Brooks is awful. He should never sing ever again. I'm sorry. I grew up in a band.
Poor old Avery.
I've been in a band literally my entire life, and not like on the weekend, let's go sing some jamioki. No, like an actual band where like we were poor and like parents were on the road all the time, and we were sometimes there with them and sometimes not. And you grow up in hotels and motels, and it's actually an incredibly difficult life. So I'm a classically trained musician. I don't know why they made Avery Brooks sing here, but it is objectively terrible. It's a super cringy closing scene as we watch the faces of the actors watching Avery sing. So it's so cheesy and so cringy. You want to crawl out of your own skin and just leave and just go somewhere else. Whose idea was it to have Avery sing, not be good at all, and then to periodically show him singing and not doing a good job of it, while showing the faces of his fellow actors reacting to his singing? It is so ridiculously bad. It's like something you would see on Sesame Street. It's absolutely the most cringy, ridiculous. Who thought of, like, why? Like, this
Probably
is directed by Mike Vajar. Mike, what were you thinking? Mike. Anyway, good evening, Midnight's Oblivion, and
Midnight's
hello,
Oblivion.
Minimus.
Hey.
Yeah, this is Ocean's 11. This is so much cheese. It's so cringy. You just want to get away from it. It's absolutely so bloody awful. I can't even deal with it. And it's not science fiction. And that's all I put in my notes.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and get your rating of Ocean's Bada Bing 11, 12, 8, 9, whatever.
Okay, I gave it a C minus. I think that the story, when you first watch it, it seems okay. It's too much repetition of this holodeck thing. It's obvious these actors and actresses want to play any character except for the character that they signed up to play for on Star Trek. It's not horrible, but it's also not good at all. C minus.
Yeah, I'm also going with a C minus. I just only because, like I said, I like James Darren. The music's fine, and I don't know. Some of the stuff actually, some of the more interesting things with like Cisco dealing with his problems with everyone going, and the conversation where it almost felt like a Star Trek conversation. Where Cassidy was telling him, "Well, you know what? That was a long time ago. You need to put that kind of stuff behind you."
Yeah, you like the same scene I did.
Yeah, I like that bit. I'm like, Cisco was kind of hung up on the past, and he realized that was for this show especially a shockingly Star Trek type of a bit. Very small, but nevertheless. So yeah, but it's wow. So just a C minus. Although it really almost deserves less for me because because it's just this is not what the show needs to be doing. But on an individual episode basis, yeah. So, all right, everyone, please come at us now with your any reviews or ratings and reviews you may have for whatever, and I will bring us Michael, our good buddy Michael Beacom, who has a review for us. While number one is Starring Those. So let her rip. Let's see here. Now, our buddy Michael Beacom says, "Bada bing, bada bang." He gives it a C plus. He said, "So they have completely given up on science fiction then? Ocean's 11's in space? Okay, so be it. As I watched this, I began to wonder if somewhere on another channel, an episode of Vegas is airing where Robert Urich is having to deal with aliens invading his casino just to bring balance to the universe. Seriously, it was fun and I liked all the cameos, but really another light comedy? Again, I get fatigued now just thinking about all there is to rip apart about this episode. Yeesh. So, yeah.
I agree, Michael Beacom.
Yeah.
If they have to follow the rules of the 1962 Las Vegas casino, Odo can't be involved. He can't turn into his golden puddle of goo, and Julian can't use his little squirt purple stuff. Just get the Bowser over with. This is a Nintendo game.
Simply Steve says D rating. So the holosuite programming modules can be changed when not in use. I don't know. I mean, maybe it means cannot be changed. Anyway, Boosh McFadden says, C, not as terrible as the two preceding. I do like the holodeck stuff. Oh, and a cute Mrs. Chesticles in that cigarette girl dress. Why would Zemo kill Frankie? Because he's Captain America's worst enemy, Baron Zemo. No, sorry. Never mind. It was silly fun. When they called him Zemo, of course, my funny book brain went to Baron Zemo.
Boosh!
Yes, thank you, Boosh. Lisa says F because of an F. Where's the holosuite programmer? Fix that dang glitch with a patch or whatever. Sad to say, best part was Odo as a serving tray. It made me laugh. Finally, the goo was useful, a clever tool. Thank you, Lisa. Scuba Pete says C minus. Sinatra. Start spreading the news. DS9 writers should leave today. I want no part of it. New work. These holosuite troop blues. I'm longing to say. Sorry, everybody. It's Scuba Pete's damn fault. Sorry. All right. Shooter says B minus. Oh, great, a heist. That's just what Star Trek needed. Again, it is fun. Vic is always welcome. And Ezri in that costume, well, I'm kind of with you there for sure. So cute. But at the end of the day, it's filler.
Yep.
I hate Cisco bitching about racial prejudice when he is supposed to be from a time when this is a long forgotten issue. That our people line really rubs me the wrong way in an era with aliens. Then, yeah, I'm kind of with you. But I kind of like how Cassidy kind of smacked him around about it and said, cut it out. And so,
how would Nichelle Nichols feel about that, I wonder?
I don't know. Well, she probably wouldn't mind. But, I don't know if she would have minded one way or the other. But I do. But the thing is about that, Shooters, he did that. And then Cassidy, who was also, quote, one of his people in the same ethnicity, smacked him around about it. Said, you got to let that kind of crap go. Cut it out. And again, he's realized it was wrong. So that stuff like that, I don't mind if the character, finds it in himself to change something. That's okay for me personally. But I do see what you're saying. Midnight's Oblivion, silly episode C. Thank you. Silly indeed.
Thank you, Oblivion.
The great enigmatic Drop Bear says D minus. Well, I guess we started with a ridiculous transporter episode, so I guess it's appropriate for these writers to follow it up with a ridiculous holosuite holodeck episode. Yes, of course. Watching these episodes necessitates forgetting past Star Trek episodes and established lore. Once highly capable scientists, engineers, and diplomats inexplicably became talentless, incompetent hacks. Boy, is that for sure.
I'm going to interject for 2 eggs of a puppy's tail. Please leave that up on the marquee, boss. But I would like everyone to welcome Ravenscroft82 to the chat. Good evening, Ravenscroft.
Ravenscroft?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I don't know if I've had the pleasure, but welcome. Welcome, Ravenscroft. Good to see you. Glad to see you here. Let's see here. All right. So, let's see. Where were I? Okay. Cisco's propagating a grudge from events 4 centuries earlier is as ridiculous as Catholics propagating a grudge from the murder of persecution of missionaries in early 17th century Japan. Yeah, it is ridiculous. I mean, it was so dumb. Again, at least he had it smacked out of him. But no, I'm with you. And by the way, what I hate about it, conversely, what I hate about it is the fact that they're dredging it up in the first place, though, because like they just wanted to talk about it for no. I mean, I guess because they just wanted a virtue signal, even in the late 90s.
Yeah, but it's important that if you snuggle up to those issues and you embrace them, that you make sure that you handle them deftly, that you get in there and you act with courage and great valor when you're dealing with those kind of issues. You don't just sneak up on them and then, crawl away. It's not good.
Kyle says, F. Whoa. It would appear that the writers of DS9 have decided to take this series in a bold new direction with this episode in terms of holographic technology and social commentary, but it's just plain stupid. So we're told that they can't reset the program without wiping out Vic in the process. Whatever happened to the memory module from the TNG episode Ship in a Bottle that was used to store Moriarty and the world he went off to? This entire episode's dilemma could have been resolved with a simple data backup of Vic and a reset of the program. Also, Cisco's uneasiness with the program because of the racial strife in the 1960s makes no sense, despite his personal experience of it as Benny Russell, by his own admission and with Cassidy's reminder. Oh, got more, sorry.
2 more.
Humanity had moved far beyond such strife. Lastly, it's a good thing that everyone involved got some time off from the Dominion War to participate in this episode's events. Otherwise, yeah, let's see. Where's this?
LL just won the internet for the evening.
Yes, Vic Fontaine and his world would have been nothing more than a corrupted program. Yeah, it's just so damn silly how frivolous this show can be. And look, if you're going to be that frivolous, then for God's sake, don't write yourself into a war. Don't write about a war if you're going to do shite like this.
Boss, I'm
Yes.
going to put something up on the marquee temporarily, and then you can remove it after you read it, okay?
Sure.
There you are.
Ravenscroft 82. Hello. Very impressed with this panel here, or these weekly chats. Thank you for Ravenscroft. Thank you so much for your kind words. Yes, we've been doing this. Well, we've been doing Saturday Night Star Trek for a while, but as far as reviewing, we review all of Star Trek from 66 through 2005 is the plan. The original Star Trek, what we call quote unquote real Trek, starting from the original series, which we did first. Then we did the animated series, the original crew films. Then we did Star Trek: The Next Generation, and now we're in season 7 of Deep Space Nine. We do 4 episodes a week, usually, and next will be Voyager. Then after that, Enterprise. So yes, weekly. We do it weekly, and we hang out with our chat, and we talk to them and get their opinions on the episodes as well. And thank you for joining us and for asking that question. We appreciate having you here. We always like when new friends show up. Antiderivative Jill, love you, Jill, says A-. For fun, D. Oh, I'm sorry. A- for fun, D for science equals C+. Oh, Jill with the math. Inasmuch as I am a sucker for Klingon episodes, I am similarly infatuated with both holodeck and heist stories. And this one combines the two splendidly. I did not know that about you, Jill. Learn something about Jill every time. Does it require certain unbelievable computer programming nonsense that makes no sense given the technical aptitude and intelligence of O'Brien? Yes. They do at least attempt to explain how it is an unchangeable, but how it is an unchangeable, but what makes that make sense is that safety protocols should make it so that Miles would be able to make any changes needed.
Yep.
Despite all of the magic needed to make this episode possible, it is just plain fun and contains Cassidy's best line in the entire series. Going to VIX isn't going to make us forget who we are or where we came from.
Mhm.
What it does is it reminds us that we are no longer bound by any limitations except the ones we impose upon ourselves.
It's funny.
That-
So Jill liked the exact same moment in the episode that you and I liked.
Yeah, I like that. Again, although by the way, I do agree with others here who said that they shouldn't have, maybe it shouldn't have been. They make a good point that maybe it shouldn't have been a hang up at all, but it was there, and I liked the way Cassidy dealt with that. So,
I 1000% agree. I just, for me, like, Minimus is saying some things in the chat that I starred. I agree with Minimus, though. Like, I think that it's very important that you don't undo what Uhura did. You can't undo the conversation with Abraham Lincoln.
right, yeah.
And so if if you are going to do that, anyway, it's just
That's a good point. No. It's look.
that's the thing I love about this show, is that I have so many friends, and you have so many friends here that are so like-minded. And earlier when I brought up Nichelle Nichols, in comes Minimus, and he's supporting that idea, that same idea I had. What do you do when you're being so forceful about your own power, and somebody comes along and says, well, no, actually, you never get that power. Like, that's a pretty weighty thing to just drop on DS9 without any explanation. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well done, Jill, by the way. Well done. JT Kirk says 4 musical numbers out of 5. Bada bing, bada burst. Bust. Bada bing, bada bust. Didn't like it much, apparently. Funny, it seems like there isn't a war going on or anything. Yeah. Just an excuse to play dress up for the cast. Esri as the Martini girl saves my score. Yeah. No denying, buddy. She was something. Yeah, we like that.
JT Kirk would also like you to know, boss, that he's sorry about being mostly missing in action this evening. But he had to work today, and he got way over some deadlines, and he just finished an 18-hour shift. So, JT Kirk, I just want you to know that everyone here loves you, and we totally look forward to your conversation every single week. But we're all pulling for you to definitely have a power nap, and we're just happy that you joined us.
Are you saying that your life and your work and all that stuff is more important than coming to this show? Dude, I'm so disappointed in you. Get down and give me 50, boy. JT, we know you love you. We love you, brother, and whatever you got to do. When you can be here, you're here. We love it when you can show up, man. But when you can't, we know you're here with spirit with us, bro. You're a good, longtime friend of the show, as so many
That's
are.
right.
So we love you, brother. Don't worry about that.
The Tetrarch of Apathy says, I'm going to leave the stream on, but I have an early shift tomorrow. Give them well-reasoned hell for me, and happy Father's Day to all. Isn't that a sweetheart of a message? So the Tetrarch of Apathy, thank you so much for that beautiful message. I just want to say happy Father's Day to all of the men in your life as well. Anybody who, was a father figure, or your dad or your grandpa, or even you. And we promise we'll keep giving them hell. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope to see you next week.
Tetrarch, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Always great to have you here, my friend. Thank you. Captain James T. Skywalker says, A. I accept that this is not pure Star Trek. DS9 is the black sheep. Given that I love this episode very much, it is fun and charming. I always thought, even though I love Enterprise, I always thought it's the one that got treated like the black sheep.
Yeah.
But
People hate Enterprise.
Except for me and you. And some of our friends here do like it. So.
Yep.
Um,
People who've actually watched Star Trek tend to like Enterprise more than the people who are like super DS9 fans.
Well, I know some who don't, unfortunately, but what can you do? F rating from Strictly Steven. He says, real title, Hollow Sweet Casino Roulette. Hollow Sweet goofiness again. Hollow Vomit, and Cisco sings, really?
Yeah.
Bit working for the crime boss in program, no way. No plot, no sci-fi here. No.
I like Hollow Vomit. Hollow Vomit, that
Hollow
is
Vomit,
a cherry. That is a cherry portmanteau. Thank you so much for that one, Steve.
Eric K., the Bronze Wrencher, says D. So you cannot pause the program, or everything will be deleted now. They were reaching on this one. James Darren singing with Avery Brooks. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. What can you do? Maybe Avery got a kick out of it.
And objectively bad. Like, objectively bad.
Yeah, even Darren couldn't bail him out, huh? Because Darren could sing now. That's a
he's marvelous. He's a wonderful
Bobby Darren. Yeah,
he's
like
wonderful.
Bobby Darren. Yeah, he had to be thinking. Well, I hope the check clears. I am an actual singer and doing this. Love Vic, but this story sucks. So many plot holes. He is also, he's not just Vic Fontaine. Maybe he's falling through the time tunnel. He is Tony Newman and Doug Phillips. I mean, he's Doug Phillips. Or is he Tony? I always got him confused. He's Tony Newman. Tony Newman and Doug Phillips tumble endlessly through the corridors of time. The time tunnel. You ever see that show? I love that show.
No, but I will check it out. I'm currently reading my fellow Irishman, Boosh, just laying the boots to Enterprise in the chat.
He doesn't like it? Uh-oh.
We're going to change your mind. I'm going to change your mind.
He doesn't like Enterprise?
Well, he said he liked it just fine. It wasn't like super special or whatever, but then he lays the boots to it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If it were anyone else, but it's Boosh, so we like him anyway. We love you anyway, dude. We appreciate you. All opinions are welcome here. We all know that. Fanty outside, he says let's be honest here. Frank Sinatra died less than a year earlier, and someone watched Ocean's 11, and that's how Ocean's 11, the old one, that's how we got this. D-, this episode could have been vastly improved. If they were clever, they could have called in a professional in dealing with mobsters from Iconia. Oh boy, that would have at least been imaginative. Also, Uhura was over at 78 years earlier. Sorry.
That moment really stood out for many of us, especially because we watched it in the 1970s. Many of us, at least that's when I watched that moment. And so and Simply Steve says, "Yep, Jolene was the best thing about Ent." Was it Jolene or was it her chesticles?
I love the character of T'Pol. I mean, no one's complaining about the testicles, but of course
she's amazing. I think beautiful that the whole idea. I was just making a joke because she's ridiculously sexy, but I think that her portrayal of a Vulcan, and you've heard me say this 9 billion times, is so underrated. I think she is fabulous as T'Pol.
Love her. Minima said, Sissyco's whining mean Uhura lied to Abraham Lincoln in the Savage Curtain? No. Good point. Good point.
I love that. That's a great comment. That's exactly what's written on my heart as well. That was a very powerful speech she gave. It just claimed all that power.
Love it. One of my favorites. Sean Carter says, on its own, I give this a C+. I really like the Vic character, and the story was decent, but It would have been better if they hadn't had the added drama of the inability to delete Frankie. But on a higher level, this gets an F. All of season 7 should have been about the war. Period. Well, we're getting there, but
Instead, it was a variety show. I was waiting for
was a
Carol
variety
Burnett
show.
to show up, and
Yes,
you know.
exactly. Ravencroft says, I will say that in general, I didn't ever care for the focus on the holodeck in the later years. Always seemed kind of self-indulgent and not in character with the more urgent and real tone of a DS9.
Wow.
Yeah, I
That's-
understand that.
That's really amazing because Clobby
Agreed.
and I have had full conversations on that. Clobby and I are very much like-minded to you, Ravenscroft. We both feel the exact same way.
Yes.
It's like they wanted to play any other character than the one they signed up for, and it's just, I think that if it would have been more infrequent, it would have felt special and it would have been kind of cool because you would see them stretching their acting ability. But when it's every week and it's a comedy, it's just like
the deedishness. Katie says, I love this episode. The best last in the series. The best last in the series? Such fun camaraderie sorely missed. The costuming, music, plot, and final scene with Cisco singing with Vic was so excellent. Let's see. I thought the way the episode was written was brilliant and super fun to get the audience's mind off the war.
Incorrect.
By this,
Incorrect.
why are you being mean to Katie? Like the baseball episode, it gets you in a great mood. I thought Nerys looked and Cassidy is they did it backwards? No. Oh, I'm sorry. I got it. They're backwards somehow. I went backwards on you, Kate. I didn't mean to. So sorry. Now I'm all confused. That's one of three. No. This is the third one. Weird. And Cassidy is pure class. Being someone who likes the old mob movies, Godfather, because this was a great homage to the time in history. To that time in history. Also, the Cisco moments touching on Vegas was good. A+. Thank you, Katie. Thank you.
Data in error.
What are you doing?
Incorrect.
Why are you being mean to Katie? Hey, don't be sorry, Katie. That's not me. Says stop mocking me. I'm not doing that. I don't have any control over that.
That's me, and I'm just kidding. Sorry,
Katie. You have every right to your opinion, dear. We're Katie.
just joking around.
She was just joking around. Idiot, folks. No, look. No, it was just. Look. All opinions are all welcome here. Now we do tease each other from time to time, but
Yes,
I
don't mean it.
She doesn't mean it. She just likes playing with her whatever that thing is you're using.
A little soundboard.
But, she's been doing that to everybody to joke with them, Katie. Please don't take it personal,
please.
Hey, Neurotonax Amanda Bear.
Neurotonax Amanda Bear.
And like I say, a lot of people like that episode. So you're not alone, Katie.
Nerot and several other members are presenting the waddy sticks, and they're banging the waddy sticks, so we know what they're asking for, right?
I don't know. Alan. Yep. Let's see here. What the? Yep. No. Oh, hey, Parker. I'll get to it in a second. Good to see you.
Hey, Parker. And Mark D with a C is here. Happy birthday.
Mark D with a C. Good to see you. So, please hang with us, Katie. We like I say, I don't want you to take anything bad when we do stuff like that. I hope you just be cool. And we,
Just kidding.
Was just a joke. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay, I'm getting it. Oh, Alamarain. Where happened to my Alamarain? Oh, there we go. I just wish Jadzia was in this one. Me too. Oh, thank you, Ravencraft. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Did you see that lovely message where Ravenscroft said, "Wow, I'm seriously sorry I've missed what must have been an awesome chat. Would you take suggestions for shows once you've completed Trek 2? Meanwhile, I'll try to be back next week if possible. Maybe we should talk about the Clubhouse for Ravenscroft 82.
Well, Ravens Club, yes. What we do, they're going to be doing this for a while, but yes. But if you're ever available on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Central, we Raquel and I and our good friend, our chief engineer Mark D with a C, who could feel free to pop in if he wants to, whenever he's ready. We all get together on Thursday nights. We don't review Star Trek, but we do. What we review is a couple of different science fiction shows. Plus, we talk about all kind of different things. Open talk about Star Trek and many other things. And then, of course, we're going to start reviewing Star Trek comics and doing stuff like that. So, feel free to come hang out with us anytime. And we would love to have you. It looks like Lisa says, we will have much more in common on Voyager, Katie. Now, Lisa, I didn't know you were a Voyager fan. Okay, well, there you go.
I knew she was a Voyager fan.
Well, nobody ever tells me anything around here. Interesting you say that.
Ooh, we love
right now we're reviewing a show called Jerry Anderson's UFO. And when we get done with that, Blake 7 is next. I did do a show a couple of months ago, my Wednesday night show, where I ranked every episode of Blake 7 in all 52 episodes, which is ridiculous, I know, but I'm a Blake 7 freakazoid. It is as if the show was made just for me, and I only share it with the rest of the world out of kindness. Just kidding. I love it. Eric K says they should have gotten a bunch of Klingon warriors to come rough up the gangsters. They could have said the Federation is moving in to take over, and they're getting a piece of the action. Thank you for that super chat, buddy. I appreciate you.
Yeah, piece of the action is one of the first things you think of.
Enigmatic says, Dropbear says he likes hearing the positive takes on the ones I didn't like. It's easy to get lost in cynicism. Yeah, that's true. I just like hearing I like that, but I just love the sound effects.
Well, I wouldn't exactly say that I'm lost in cynicism.
By the way, Katie, you are going to have to help us with the Voyager episodes because you know more about it than anybody. So, well, we got one more episode that we're just stalling because nobody wants to do it, but we're going to do it anyway, right? Are we doing it? We're going to do one more?
Yeah, we got to do the last
time for
one.
Tonight's final episode, my friends. Let's see here. It is something.
Yeah, in times of war, the law falls silent.
I'm going to get medicine.
Okay, rock and roll. This is season 7, episode 16, production code 565. This first aired on March 1st, 1999. I'm going to be reading from Wikipedia. It's user-generated. It's likely going to suck. Yes, Katie, Latin. The best thing about Latin is the people who use Latin the most are people who don't even speak it. It's quite pretentious, kind of annoying. Let's go. As Bashir prepares for a conference on Romulus, Section 31 agent Luther Sloan appears with an assignment for him. Captain Sisko advises him to accept it in order to learn more about the secretive agency. Bashir is asked to determine whether Koval, the anti-Federation head of the Romulan Tal Shiar and a candidate for the influential Continuing Committee, suffers from the degenerative Tuvon syndrome. Bashir discusses the issue with Admiral William Ross, who says it would be better for the Federation if Senator Kretak were appointed to the committee instead. Bashir meets Koval at the conference and later tells Sloan that he believes Koval does have Tuvon syndrome. Sloan asks how the disease could be accelerated. Bashir, suspecting that Sloan is plotting a covert assassination, informs Admiral Ross, who plans to have Sloan arrested. Ross muses that Sloan could have an accomplice on Romulus. Before Sloan can be arrested, Bashir overhears that Ross has suffered an aneurysm. With nowhere else to turn, Bashir tells Kritak of his suspicions about Sloan. Kritak agrees to help Bashir identify Sloan's accomplice by giving him classified Tal Shiar information. The next day, Koval has Bashir arrested and tortured. Bashir and Kritak are brought before the continuing committee, and Bashir tells them about the Section 31 plot against Koval. Koval brings in Sloan, badly beaten, and says Section 31 does not exist. Sloan is merely a renegade Starfleet officer obsessed with revenge for his mentor's death. The committee convicts Kritak of treason for planning to share Tal Shiar intelligence with Bashir. Sloan is held for further interrogation. Enraged, Sloan grabs a guard's weapon. Koval fires first, vaporizing Sloan. That night, Bashir demands the truth from Admiral Ross. Off the record, Ross reveals that Koval is working for Starfleet. The real mission was to discredit Kritak, who would abandon the Federation alliance if she thought it in the best interest of the Romulans, and get Koval onto the committee. Sloan was transported away just before he was shot. Bashir is disgusted that the Federation would resort to such machinations. Or machinations. It doesn't really matter, folks. You can pronounce it both ways. Back aboard Deep Space Nine, Sloan appears in Bashir's quarters, explaining that he needed a man of conscience for the operation. The Federation needs men of conscience, but it also needs men like Sloan. After he leaves, Bashir calls station security, but catches himself and says it was nothing, as Sloan is already gone. And that is all Wikipedia has to say about In Times of War, the law falls silent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That episode was made all right. I don't have much to say. I almost want to recuse myself from it because it's Section 31 that doesn't belong anywhere near Star Trek. This kind of story. I mean, it's well done, good drama and all that kind of stuff. I like William Sadler and all the kind of the acting and all that kind of. I love Adrienne Barbeau, but this is just not really. I know it's pertinent to the war story at least, which I guess, hey, it's saying something, right? They're actually back on track for what they were actually more interested in doing, but it's Section 31, so I just don't. Just not my bag, baby. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Go for it with your notes.
I don't have very many notes on this because I don't consider this Star Trek. This gets dangerously close to me, like I don't know. This isn't Star Trek. It's just really bad. So I love Adrienne Barbeau. Everybody already knows that. I think that she's incredibly sexy. I love her as an actress. I think she's totally cool. I grew up in the 1970s. I was a teenager in the 80s and then became an adult in the 80s. So Adrienne Barbeau is like a huge part of my growing up. I love her. However, Section 31, and I wrote in my notes here, there's really nothing else to say. There's no fun here. There's no jokes here. There's no raspberries. There's nothing. It's Section 31. And what's worse is that this, this is the pond from which the filth crawled from. This episode establishes that Section 31 is actually just anybody who in Starfleet who disagrees with their own orders. So I hate this. This isn't Star Trek. Anybody who says this is Star Trek is a nincompoop. I'm not going to play any games about how awesome it is. It's stupid and I hate it and it's awful and it should have never have been made.
100% agree. It's just not what I signed up for with Star Trek. I'm sick of having to say that almost every week. I'm having to say that. Remember, it was like maybe average once every couple of weeks that we were having to say that. And now it got to be like averaging once a week. Now it's like 2 or 3 times a week outside of Star Trek. I have to say that about an episode. We have to say, this is not Star Trek. I'm tired of having to say this is not Star Trek. When are we not saying it now?
Well, this actually helps to take Star Trek apart. This actually this is the horrible birth of the filth. That's what this is, and it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
annoying to watch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we can make quick work of it then, at least from our angle. I mean, what you give it? You give it a what?
I give it an F, but I actually feel like it is so bad that it doesn't deserve a rating. And as everyone knows, if I think that something isn't Star Trek and that it defiles Star Trek, and basically wounds Star Trek and sullies Star Trek, that I
Defiles it.
will refuse to give it a rating at all. And that is definitely the case here. I mean, if you're going to force me, I'm going to say F, but I don't even think it should be rated. I think this is disgusting and should never have been made.
Yep, I'm gonna go an F minus, but I'm pretty much in the same boat. We're 100% on this one. Why are you doing this? Why do you, well, we know why. But they're back to the war. For those who are into the whole war thing, at least you're back on track with that. Your spy stuff, yeah. So there you go. Enjoy. All right, everyone. Well, look, go ahead now and launch with any ratings and words you may have about the episode. Enter Arma Inim's armpits about silent legs all over somebody's ass or whatever. And while number one is collecting those, I will retrieve the review of the great Mr. Michael Beacom. And I saw you were here earlier, Michael. By the way, I think he did pop in the chat earlier. Did he? Are you here, Michael? Well, I'll read yours anyway since you sent it to me. All right, Mr. Beacom says, okay, of Inter Arma Inum like of us. And yeah, he says F. He gives it an F also. He says, God, Section 31 again? I would love to see Bashir on another Austin Powers Hollow adventure that was fun. This? Ugh. And again, Babylon 5 was rife with better written versions of this story, but it belonged on Bab 5. Yes, it did. Not in Star Trek. This episode didn't belong in Trek either. To add insult to injury, they used the name Bellerophon, Dr. Morbius' ship for Forbidden Planet, of course, which as the starship name for Bashir's transport. More insult. They wasted the great Adrian Barbeau on this. Yeah, it was a waste. And buried her under prosthetics. In older days, this would be a dueling offense. We demand satisfaction. Yes, sir. I could discuss the story's failings, the story failings, the ideological missteps, and more. But I'm tired of this show now. If they're trying to get me to reconcile with saying goodbye to it, they've succeeded. Wow. I can't say as I blame you, buddy. Not at all. Can't say I blame you. Well, let's see what we have going up in here. We have our wonderful Katie.
Boss,
yes.
I need to interrupt for 2 eggs of a puppy's tail to let you know that Grim is here. Everybody, say hello to Grim. Boss?
Oh, sorry. I was muted. Damn it. I forgot to. Hey, Grim, thank you for being here. So our lovely friend Katie says, Polar Opposite is my other review. Is it better than others? Yes. Is it boring? Yes. They ran a little wild with Section 31 and torture. What does that speak of the Federation? Boo. Solid B minus. I hear you. Doesn't speak well of them, Katie, does it? Not at all. Rob Altus says, I've only watched a little of Deep Space Nine. It seems so different from TOS that I didn't get into it. Well, that's a good point. And it is very different from it. It's really pretty different from TNG, too, or the other ones, to be honest. Now, if you really dig into it. The AI show, C, optional titles, post hoc ergo propter. Propter? Hoc, no. Post hoc proc. And I can't even pronounce all that stuff. Digestibilzilla's dude, what are you trying to do to me, AI? Thanks. I didn't feel like enough of an idiot. Now trying to get me to read Latin. You know, I can't even read English. Decent drama based on Section 31C. Great to see Adrienne Barbeau, formerly of Maude, here, and many other things. I love her. Nog will get you for that. All right, let's see. The great enigmatic drop bear says F. I don't have much to say about this one. I prefer my Star Trek to be Star Trek. This is not Star Trek. It's not even interesting. Just dumb and boring. I thrice fell asleep watching it. This is contrived, clandestine rubbish that a bunch of robber baron hacks have incorrectly and inappropriately labeled Star Trek. Leave Star Trek alone and take these concepts and stories elsewhere. Well done.
Guess who's
Well,
here? My buddy
who?
Crease is here. Crease, 1984. Nice
Hey,
to see you.
Chris. Good to see you. All right. No, 1984 was one of my favorite years. Was a very good year.
Especially for film.
JT, yeah, especially, yeah. JT Kirk with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. He says, are the ambassadorial uniforms black and blue or white and gold? I don't know, those white ones. Anyway. Happy birthday to Mark D with a C.
Yay.
Never heard of him. Who?
Who's that guy? Damn it, Mark.
And he also says NCC 1701C, the ambassador class rating for the white and gold ambassadorial uniforms. Entertaining, but Star Trek is not well suited to any of this cloak and dagger BS, and it's just ugly here. Agreed, sir. Kal-El has a different view. He says, A for the story, F for the premise. Oh, okay. I didn't see that part. Despite my opinion about Section 31 and how it has no place in Star Trek, this episode featured an excellently told story filled with political intrigue. Let's see. It was alarming, though not surprising, that Admiral Ross was working with Section 31 to help accomplish it. Was he, though? I mean, he didn't say he wasn't, but he kind of was. Anyway, it's goal of keeping Koval in power. The conversation that Ross and Bashir had off the record, once the latter had figured out what had really occurred, although it does ask the important ethical questions through Bashir and would most likely prompt a topic of discussion amongst fans, ultimately sends the wrong message, in my opinion. The fact that Sloan survived being detected, was hardly surprising, and the speech he gave Bashir at the very end was laughable at best. Given that Sloan and Section 31 itself rationalizes seemingly every mission it undertakes. The episode was indeed entertaining, though, and had it been an episode of 24 or a similar show...
I'm going to get you to pause there just for 2 eggs of a puppy's tail. I beg your pardon, boss. But Ravenscroft says, gentle folks, I am wiped out. So happy I discovered you, and thank you kindly for the welcome and interaction. We'll definitely see you again, where hopefully I have more to contribute. It was so great to have you. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again. Good night, Ravenscroft. Ravenscroft,
thank you so much for being here. It's always great to meet new friends, and we hope you will return. Please join us again. Thank you. It would have gotten an A+ rating with no caveats. Okay. Thank you, the great Kal-El. Simply Steve says, F rating, real title, War is Hell, except in space. Another mention of Section 31, Bashir tortured, but no worse for wear later on, okay? Okay. The Dominion War is back on, then after a 2-ep pause, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's back. It's back. Shooter says, D-. More spy games with Bashir and the dreaded Section 31 with Sloan. A story that doesn't fit Star Trek again, yeah. And you can't have a good admiral in Starfleet. That's true. Time to ruin Admiral Ross.
Mhm.
Yeah. The worst thing is they remove a likable Romulan character for the big reveal. The ending was okay, but it didn't do anything for the series overall. It is a dull slog. Boy, is it ever. Lisa says that she loves it and it's the most one. That's kidding. F. She says F.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. How inspiring and brilliant the humans and the Federation have become. And which century is this?
Right.
Oh, wait. Nope. This showed the sleazy and slimy of politics and corruption of espionage. Yep. No, nothing Trek about that.
Yeah, and it doesn't, and it not only establishes the Section 31, but then there's full dialogue, like a full conversation saying, that there is no Section 31. It's just basically anytime you don't agree with your orders, or you don't agree with the way Starfleet and the United Federation of Planets are behaving, you're just going to do whatever you want. I guess that's okay if you're writing for another show, but it's not okay if you're writing for Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek. And if you can't follow Gene Roddenberry's ideas for his show Star Trek, and you think that your ideas are better, well, then maybe you should go write your own show. And maybe you shouldn't use the name Star Trek. It's just an idea.
Good idea. Absolutely. That's what I think. Eric K., the Great Bronze Winter, says D. Only because William Sadler is a great actor. Everything else is blah. Yeah, he is a great actor. I like William Sadler. Always have. Never blame the actors. Anti-derivative Jilly says F. The only reason this is better than The Filth is because Julian is just as disgusted with Section 31 as I am. Right. DS9 at least recognizes and struggles with the fact that it's acting against how they should operate because of the war as a means to ultimately save and return to the utopia. However, unfortunately, I don't agree that the ends justify the means, because it means working with a villain who not only doesn't meet the ideals, he actively ignores them completely. Yeah. As a result, we have a federation that cannot control the actions of a rogue, completely separate organization whose actions they are essentially condoned. They are consistently condoned, and it only gets worse from here. Thank you, Jill. Well done. As well said as always. JT Recurk says, review epilogue. Basher and Sloan converse in the lecture room on Romulus. Wouldn't it be bad to talk spycraft in an area bound to be loaded up with mics and cameras? Good point.
That's all you're thinking about the whole time. Like, why are they saying this out loud?
Fanty outside, he says F. The lame Section 31 limps in again. And if Section 31 was real Trek, they'd investigate alien tech and phenomenon that could give the Federation the leg up in the war. When they appear, it should be tech upgrades. Then people would look forward to seeing them instead of being cannon-breaking, groan-inducing, drivelly, crappy. I mean, I added that part. Thank you, Fanty.
Ronald D. Moore dropped out of college after I think he took some courses in politics. I think he wanted to study poli-sci. He dropped out of college, and that's what you get, right? You get Ronald D. Moore, and then this is what he does to Star Trek. And all of them have, voiced their self-righteous reasons why what they did is just so awesome. They're just great.
Yep. I'll tell you what. And if you're out there, Mark D with a C, feel free to pop in, but only if you feel like it. Don't worry, we won't sing to you or anything. So are we done with this one? I think we're done with this one.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Star Trek won't be done with this one, though, because, later on, the filth will actually exploit this complete shite and not only make Section 31 into an actual organization, but then also play with the idea that it's not an actual organization. So just the whole thing just turns into a giant pile of shite. And the writers' room, they just rub it all over one another in their corporate writers' room. It's
Did I just hear you were going
Oh.
to sing to me, Clobbering Times?
Happy birthday
everyone.
to your. Just kidding. What's up, dude? Well, I'll tell
Oh,
you.
having
we
a
won't-
great day.
Instead, we'll just say happy birthday
wow.
from everybody, and we do have a special message for you
Oh,
from a
that's
very
amazing.
special
Thank
guest from you.
Happy birthday.
you. Oh, making me really happy there. That's amazing.
There you
you
go,
did that.
man.
I much appreciated. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Yep, had a great
Thanks.
day. So yeah, a lot of fun today. And
Clip,
we
hat
had-
tip to Raquel for the clip. But go
Wow.
ahead. What'd you do today?
That's- Oh, we just had barbecue. There were no clams eaten. We had
That's good.
You know, I know
Always
this
good.
is Star Trek night, but we had barbecue chicken and you know, normal food. So just if anyone's wondering, and Carvel ice cream cake, which is my, you know, God, I love a good ice cream cake. So it was a good day. So
Well,
thank you, at
excellent.
least, everyone.
Had a
Yep,
good day
yep.
then, huh?
Yeah,
happy
always fun.
birthday and happy Father's Day.
Yeah, it's Father's Day.
Yeah.
Now, too.
Now it's Father's Day.
2 for
We're
one.
on-
Yeah,
I
Now
sent
it's
you a
Father's
message
Day.
at the beginning of the show, though, so I won't repeat it.
thank you. I'll go back and listen. Yep, thank you so much.
Yeah. Well,
JT Kirk's is 30 seconds in. Food
JT Kirk.
yep. Doesn't take him
Busted.
long, does it?
Busted. Yep. Busted. Yep.
Busted.
Yes,
So
sir.
so what I was just typing up my review of this episode, but I'll give it a D-. It just doesn't belong in Star Trek. I mean, you could maybe, I was gonna say, you know, if you had like, this was a spy episode of, you know, say Mission Impossible or, you know, or something along that vein, but just that whole dark era of Star Trek and just going, I mean, you could have spies in Star Trek, that's not unheard of, but just bending all the rules of the Federation and not living up to Gene Roddenberry's vision. A good writer would be able to write, you know, a James Bond type spy that's, yeah, maybe once in a while he's got you know, he's got a license to kill, but he's not acting against the tenets of the country, so or the Federation. That's where this gets so disappointing. Or if they had done this and it was, say, the Section 31 existed and they somehow they eliminated it, you know, that would have been a great a nice episode or a nice plotline. But then you take Star Trek to this dark place that you kind of hope never existed. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
it just
shame
doesn't
that
belong.
and if they had just left it at that one episode, but then it kept getting picked up, and we know where it eventually went to. So
Thank you, Jill, by the
it's
way.
a shame. Super stick. Oh, it's a birthday cake.
Oh,
Very
thank you,
nice.
Jill. Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
Piece of birthday
Appreciate
cake.
you.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Yeah. No, I hear you, dude. It just doesn't like just. They didn't care though. There was just total arrogance on their part, and it's just a damn shame. I mean, why do you have to put that in there? Why do you have to screw with someone else's creation that much? You can go do it somewhere else, and he did do it somewhere else later. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I like what Simply Steve says, because that's actually why I don't like it. That's the worst part of it, is that they say there's Section 31, and then they say that Section 31 actually doesn't exist. And so on a go forward basis, the way that these corporate writers handle it, it just becomes ridiculous. It turns Star Trek into a mockery. And these are supposed to be military officers, and you can't just, you know, go rogue whenever you like. And why on God's green earth would the people just randomly use the you know, the tag Section 31 if Section 31 doesn't actually exist, and it's just people who agree to rando style break you know, whatever they've been ordered to do. They're just, you know, they're not going to fulfill their orders. They're going to do something illegal. They're going to go against, you know, the entire, not only their rank and their orders in the military, but against the entire United Federation of Planets. It's dumb. Right,
Dumb
JT Kirk?
stuff.
Yeah, Section 31 existed, but it never existed.
But it never existed.
Well, it's kind of like the NSA in the States here. no such agency was the joke that didn't exist, but it existed and it was spying on everyone, and turned out they were spying on Americans too. But that's another story for not this show. But yeah, I mean, you can have spying, and it would make sense you would have spies, but just it's violating all those fundamentals. Or Cisco, basically nuking those planets with a bioweapon.
Mhm.
A couple of seasons ago. So that's where it's where you have a character. When you write it, so a character has to make a tough choice and a tough moral decision. But a good writer would have that character come up with a solution that doesn't violate the tenets of the show.
Mhm.
And Section 31. I guess I could live with like a spy organization, like I said, but not one that is so dark and just violates everything that the Federation stands for. It's just so poorly written. It's just abysmal. So, and it's something that's very, very popular. And we're getting a Section 31
It
movie, I
figures
guess.
that the
Yeah.
Filthoids would do a show of that crap.
Right. So
Yeah, but they're not even following their own scripts, because in this episode it very, very, very clearly says that Sloan just tried to throw people off of his scent by just making up the idea of Section 31, and that Section 31 doesn't actually exist. And then Admiral Ross confirms that. Admiral Ross just basically says, like, I was working with him because I needed to get some stuff done that I couldn't get done by following the rules, by following the law. And so what it does is it essentially tears the whole world, the story making world of Gene Roddenberry down. And then on a go forward basis, they're just using Section 31. And so if it never existed and it was just something that Sloan said when he was being interrogated because, he didn't want to admit that he had this vendetta, and then it all comes out that it's true that, Section 31 doesn't exist, then why do we have it going forward? I mean, it just shows how pathetic and bad these writers are and how desperately they need a continuity editor. It's really bad. It's really bad.
Yep, makes my head hurt. We don't see much of them anymore. Well, we will a little bit, but
yeah.
I went down.
The bioweapon was swapping Maquis poison planets for Cardassians. That's true, but should a Starfleet commander go there though with bioweapons? I mean, I guess it was a swap, eye for an eye, swap for a swap, but maybe they could have written something a little bit better so Cisco didn't have to resort to that, I guess. So,
well, that's absurd. No offense, Phantom Outsider, but that's an absurd argument because, an eye for an eye blinds everyone. And under no circumstances would a Starfleet officer release a biogenic weapon on women and children on a planet. It wouldn't matter what the Dominion did, what the Founders did, what the Klingons did, what the Cardassians did, what the Maquis did, what the guy down the street with a large machete did. A Starfleet officer, the captain of DS9, under no circumstances would get into the Defiant and go and deploy a biogenic weapon on a planet with women and children in it. It doesn't matter what the other trappings that they put around it to justify it. What they're doing is they're pushing forward this idea that people who are in Starfleet are not only fallible, but they're regularly fallible. They're regularly corruptible. They don't always do what they're supposed to do. And later on in the filth, that is expanded upon until, the Federation becomes the enemy, and the United Federation of Planets doesn't even exist anymore. It just becomes this bizarre idea. So yeah, it tears the whole story making universe apart, and it's not justifiable. You can't justify it. You know what I mean? It's not good.
Yep. Yepper.
But was Adrian Barbeau? Oh, was this one with Adrian Barbeau in this episode? Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
she was in here, so yeah. Get that saves it from an F, I guess. Yeah.
Well, she's
Yeah, but then they
beautiful, and
covered
she's
all
great
his
at Kretek. I love that.
Yeah.
Character.
Yeah.
Didn't they kill her? Or they said they were going to get her, but she might have got off. They never really know for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's Sloan that is not really killed, right? It's Sloan that gets the they beam
Well, we
Sloan
can't
out.
say anything yet. It's the kill spoiler.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can't
sorry.
spoil anything for
I'm not
folks who
We
are
have a few
watching
people
it
who
for the
haven't
first
seen them
time.
yet. First
Oh.
time.
I
They'll
thought
find
that
out
was
soon.
Sorry. Yep.
No.
Oops.
I can't say anything.
Oh, your agonizer, please. Yep.
Yeah, guys, please. Well, since you asked so politely,
Your agonizer, please.
or at least he'll tell you
Happy
this.
birthday.
I love that. Yep. Not the agonizer part, the second part. Yeah. I can't get agonized on my birthday, can I?
Hey, DJ Ronnie G.
DJ Ronnie G. He's
What's
like,
up?
nice cake.
That's a great cake. Yeah.
What would
That's
you call
awesome.
that? Would you call that a Yancey Street cake?
A fantastic cake.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well, the Yancey
fantastic.
Street Gang would drop that cake on the thing's head, actually, when he wasn't looking.
Of course.
They're the
Yeah.
pranksters. They're always a pranking
I'm glad-
Benjamin J. Grimm. Yep.
How did you know about the NC Street though?
Well, I pay attention to the things you guys say.
Why? We don't pay attention to ourselves.
Well, when I decided to get involved with podcasting, it was because I like to share what I know and share what I've learned. But I also like to be taught. I really like to learn. And so, there are a lot of really intelligent people in this community that have a lot to teach and a lot to share. And so, I enjoy it.
Well, and it is for you. You made this happen.
Happy birthday.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Of course.
And Retinox 5 does not work on my eyes.
No,
either,
it doesn't. So we're
I
gonna
had
have
to
to
buy
get you
some reading
bifocals.
glasses. I had to buy some reading glasses.
You're gonna get broken
Another pair
later.
the other day. Yeah.
Damn it, Mark. What
Oh.
the hell's the matter with you? Remember, other people have birthdays. Why are we treating yours like a funeral?
I gotta get out there and explore the galaxy.
How do you feel, Mark?
How do you feel?
I feel fine.
How do you feel?
No, you're supposed to say, I feel
Young.
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 Come on, man.
Well, I was mixing Spock up in there with I feel fine,
Yeah,
right?
gotcha.
JT
Something
Kirk
Spock
also uses
gonna tell me
Retinox
my
5. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, he didn't feel young. By the time Trek 3 started, he felt old again, which was good. So.
That's why
Next
Star
time
Trek
go
2
watch
is just such a beautiful movie. Those character arcs between McCoy and Kirk and Spock. It's basically an action. Well, there's a lot of action in the movie, but it's just a great setup for someone in the middle of their life. Trying to find their way, and it just works. Just works so well. It's so beautifully done because these characters so well, right? So it seems so natural and so well written. So
every time we watch really crappy episodes like this, it makes me want to go back and watch the real Trek. It's a real deal. I mean, it's a real deal good stuff. Like a great episode.
Yep.
So there were no A's tonight, and any
some
any
people
of the
gave A's, but not us.
Well, Katie liked when I was looking for a second, but
She didn't
I
give
guess
me
for my
A's either.
spreadsheet, I guess there were no big winners tonight, right? No.
No.
I think, somebody gave it. I don't know if anyone gave any A's. Anyway, well, who cares? Doesn't matter. Not from us.
Yeah.
I everything tonight sucked. The entire 7th season shouldn't even exist.
Wow. F.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
Lisa.
a Vulcan. We got a Vulcan
Yeah, Lisa.
murderer tonight,
Stupid Vulcan murderer.
right?
What did you give? What were your ratings on the episodes? What did you give the Vulcan murderer?
Well, I would have given that one. I hated that episode. So
Vulcan serial killer.
Yeah, I gave. Well, that's maybe like a C- for just watching an episode, but for Star Trek an F, I would give that one an F. I guess.
I'm downgrading mine to an F. I wasn't like being nice at a D-, but it deserves an F. I'm reserving my right as captain because I talked myself into it.
And the Shamira one, I just Odo with the urge to merge with I mean, that was just
what a bunch
that
of
was just
crap.
such a creepy, weird episode. And in the end, you're almost like, Odo, I want you to leave. Not that whole romance with Kira. I know maybe there's fans of it out there. Just never worked for me. So I give that one I give that one a D. It's just
F minus. For me.
but you give it an F minus.
Yeah. What about Bada Bing, Bada Bitch?
It's not a good episode, but Vic Fontaine is interesting. So there's interesting parts, and it's just as a throwaway episode. So I'd probably give that one like a C, I guess.
A lot of people were kind of
Just-
there as well. I was a C minus, and so was number one.
I mean, it's a harmless, fun episode. Vic Fontaine's fun, but like you said, you get that too often, where you get that going to that well, and it's like they don't know what they're doing with this season. It's just all over the place. And now I guess, well, no spoilers, I guess, but you've got the war to deal with, so not a lot of episodes
That's that lovely
left.
war.
You would
Yeah.
you would think that someone would use this time to like cement their legacy. Like to break out the very best writing that they've ever done. They're about to leave the Star Trek franchise, and when they go off to whatever new television shows they're working on, soap operas and crime shows, that they're going to want to show their portfolio. They're going to say, look at the shows that I worked on. And you would think that they would want to leave on a bang, and that it would be beautiful, and that they would bring out their best work. And instead it's just complete and utter shite. I mean, it's unforgivable, it's indefensible, it's all shite. And yeah, there's really no getting around that. This is not Star Trek. It's not science fiction. And so if it's not Star Trek and it's not science fiction, I can't really be convinced to be kind to it. I don't really care what anybody thinks or feels about that. Not Star Trek, not science fiction. Why are we talking about it? Why are we even here?
Yeah, because you've got the whole idea of the Delta Quadrant, right? And you could have done something much more interesting. You just had the Dominion, and there's no exploration there. It's just they just come over and want to take over the Federation or attack the Federation. There was no interesting diplomacy or exploring that part of the that new part of the galaxy for Starfleet. It was just once in a while they take a runabout through there, or in the beginning.
Yeah, it's
It
dumb.
just was such
And
a
if
missed
this
opportunity.
whole time Odo has been able to be Tin Man, why aren't we exploring that? Why aren't we doing wonderful things with
He
that?
might not have known it. At least maybe he didn't know it, but yeah, it's really weird.
It's just weird. Yeah. Where
just weird.
are you? I have to find you to tell you. I'm trapped in my own camel toe.
Waggle.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start moving on out of here, folks. We've been here for a good while, and then number one probably needs some rest. He's been busy working all day and stuff, and we'll just number one, first officer. If you have any closing words, please go ahead.
Oh, I do have closing words. I want to thank each and every single person who is here tonight. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for standing up for Star Trek. And although I know everybody wants to be sunshiny and happy and positive, it's also important to realize that outside of this show, it's really difficult to say anything bad about DS9. It's really difficult to be truthful in your reviews because you will be inundated with filth people, and you'll be inundated by sunshiny, happy people who don't enjoy any negativity. So I hope you will continue to enjoy the fact that you have the freedom here. And this is a very special place because that negativity can happen without breaking down the conversation. So thank you for joining in on that and being honest about how you feel about this thing that took apart Star Trek as the filth. I want to thank the folks who are backing my second volume, Science Fiction Tales Volume 2. 16 amazing people who are backing the next 10 stories because the corporations don't want episodic science fiction. And that is Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter, Cardinal Sin, Shooter, Chris Persia, Scuba and Leslie Pete, Eric Kay, and the marvelous Baby Kirby, who I love, Enigmatic Drop Bear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with the C, damn it, Mark, Anti-Derivative Jill, Maximum Redstone, GT Kirk, Dabman and the Dabman Clan, and Lord and Lady Thoth, and of course their wonderful baby beagle Lance, who deserves all the cheese in the whole world. Thank you for backing my book. It really means a lot to me because, you know, like Stephen Hawking said, we live in a very different world of publishing now. Now it's we're inundated by all of these books, and it's only if the corporation says so. And so what the corporation shops is what you get. And so I'm very grateful for that. I want to say happy birthday to my friend Mark. At the beginning of the show, I reminded you all of the wonderful things that he does in real life, who he represents in his community, in his city, with his family, with all the people who he interacts with. He's a pretty marvelous person. And so I want to wish him a very, very happy birthday. And last but certainly not least, I want to tell Clubby how much I love you. Thank you so much for having me on your show. And it's always an honor and it's always a pleasure. And I think it's so essential to be honest about Star Trek and to have a space where this can happen. And you allow that. You create this space for all of us to come together. And I appreciate it immensely. I love you very, very much. And that's it.
Thank you, number one. And thank you, Michael Beacon, for the super chat. He says, happy birthday, Mark D. Appreciate that so much. Thank you for that. And he also says, our pleasure to back Raquel. Viva la imagination. Thank you so much for the super chats, Michael Beacon. I really do appreciate that. Now, birthday boy, any final
Raquel,
words
who's this Mark guy
anything?
you're praising so highly? Thank you so much. I mean, make me blush every time, but thank you so much for making that graphic, Mike. And you know, you guys are great friends, and everyone in the chat is just it's been wonderful to hang out here and make Saturday night special. I think this started during the pandemic. I'm guessing. I'm trying to remember now. It's been so long, but and we were all stuck at home, but it's become a real fun place, a great community, and just always look forward to it. So thank you, everyone, for those Cal and Clobbering Time, for those kind words. And yeah, it's just really special, and I really appreciate everything you guys have said. And I'll have to go rewind that, but watch the beginning. But yeah, it's just really, I don't know, lost for words, I guess, but just really special, and really appreciate it. And JT Kirk, thank you so much for telling people to go over and head over to my channel. Yeah, you don't have to do that, but it is appreciated. So, but yeah, it's just this has turned into something really, really special. It's changed changed my life, I guess, in some ways for the better, just in terms of meeting everyone. And thanks to this Star Trek tech, I would have maybe met you Clobbering Times at a con, or Raquel at a sign, maybe to Star Trek. But I mean, what are the chances, right? So it's just amazing that the stars aligned and we're all able to hang out and become good friends and have such a wonderful time here. So I hope I don't sound too mushy, but yeah, it's very special. And thank you. And don't take anything for granted, everyone, I guess, too. It's just, you never know which turn life can take. So enjoy it, and don't complain too. I hear people complaining about such stupid crap all the time, and then you hear, about someone who's got cancer, God forbid, or something really bad, and you're like, you're gonna complain about that? That's kind of how I try to look at life in general, and just have a great time here. We enjoy what we enjoy. We're making fun of Star Trek episodes sometimes that are crummy, but I'm just saying, in general, I hear people complaining sometimes about things, and my view on life is just enjoy life and enjoy the company, especially enjoy family. And a lot of these material things and the things that we always joke about getting toys, and that's just so wonderful and fun. But in the end, if you don't have great family and great friends like you have here, what's the point, right? So that's my little soapbox birthday / Father's Day message. And happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Have a wonderful day tomorrow too. So hope you get breakfast in bed, you get lunch and dinner made for you, and you don't have to cut the grass tomorrow. and you get
Oh,
to
I
drink
forgot
a
to
lot of
say
beers.
no. Well, I said it earlier, but I forgot to say Happy Father's Day to all the dads, people who have taken on the role of dads, even if you're not a dad, and just all dads, all the guys that, all the wonderful men in our lives, and all the wonderful things they do for us, and all the love that they share with us. Just walk up to a guy, and just give him a hug and tell him how special and wonderful he is, especially if he is that for you. And yeah, happy Father's Day to one and all, especially the guys like that are like Mark. Like I was saying this earlier at the beginning of the show. He's this Cub Scout leader. Even if he had no children, like think about the impact he's making on the lives of young men just by being there for them. So even if you're like one of those dudes who works for Big Brothers Big Sisters, or you're at the Boys and Girls Club and you're helping kids, I want to be the one to say to you, thank you for making a difference in the lives of kids and women and just people around you in general. Be good men, and you are so appreciated.
Well said.
Indeed.
Well said. Yep.
Well, the only thing I have to say to Mark is
Happy birthday.
Thank
No.
you.
no, I have a lot more to say. That you've been a fantastic friend over the past couple of years now. It's hard to believe it, how long it's been. And you do so much for us, and we'll never be able to thank you enough. So,
Thank you,
all the
buddy.
times when you'd be better, like all the times you have way better shit to be doing, but you come in and hang out with my dumb ass on the show and make it better when you do. So, I always appreciate you. So,
Thank you so much. Yep.
always fun. Thanks.
And we're both dumbasses. Double dumbass to you too.
Double
Yep.
dumb ass on you.
Happy birthday.
I
But
love
yeah,
that.
always love hanging out with you guys.
That's your problem. Just way too much LDS.
True.
Way too much
Way
LDS.
too much.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Well, some show notes, folks, and then we'll get out of Up in Hill. So, let's see. Tomorrow night. Well, Father's Day night. I guess, are we doing geekery or are we not doing geekery?
We are doing the geekery. Yep.
The geekery.
So looking forward to that. Yep. So we'll be talking a little bit of Flash / Batman and showing some of the barbecue. And I'm cooking pizza tomorrow night on the grill. I got a big green egg that I refurbished, so got a used one, and I'll
Hey,
be
Lady
cooking
Miss.
some pizza. So
Lady
we'll be doing that.
Lady
Here.
Miss
Hey,
is
Lady
here.
Miss.
Hey, sweetheart.
Good to see you, my dear. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, looking forward to hanging out with you and just having a great time tomorrow night. And you never know what we'd end up talking about, but we'll definitely be talking a little bit more of the Flash, I guess, right? Because that was the big
Maybe even some
big
filth.
news this week. Well, I got to watch that. I haven't watched that yet.
You know
So I
what?
guess,
Got it,
yeah.
but
Ew,
Yeah.
I did.
no.
I watched Strangle Dude Worms, and it was, So
Did
that
I'm
you
means
hearing a
shower
lot of-
afterward?
that was the same day I saw The Flash, which means The Flash wasn't the worst thing I saw that day.
Did you shower afterward?
Didn't help. All 20 showers didn't help.
Ew.
Oh, RK is doing beef ribs. Beef ribs.
yummy,
Oh,
yummy.
I love beef
Damn
ribs.
you
Beef
both.
ribs are the
I'm
best,
making me
RK.
hungry. Let's see. Strange that Mother's Day is the same in Oz as America, yet Father's Day in Oz is September. Probably because it's winter in Oz now. Okay. Well, weird. I didn't know that Mother's Day was the same, but I knew Father's Day was different for some reason. But there you go. Weird. Let's see here. What is up? Okay. Anyway, so there's that tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my friends. Sunday Night Geekery on the Great Mark DC with the C's channel. If you have not subscribed already, please go do so. He'll get the link up there in the chat. And then on Monday night, I'll be at the Great J-Ben's channel, 6 p.m. Central. We're continuing our ongoing reviews of the Legion of Superheroes in chronological order. And then, of course, after that, at my regular time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, on Monday Night Mark C. Comics Talk, I will talk a little bit about the passing of our wonderful, one of the greats of all time, greatest artist of comic history, the great John Romita Sr. So we'll be saying goodbye to him, as we unfortunately had to do that a few times over the past couple of years with some of the greats in the comic book business. And then the rest, of course, that it'll be, Wednesday night wild card and the clubhouse will be here. So, and and then Nick's on Friday night. So a lot of fun stuff coming up. And now let me shout out our wonderful friends, because we like to shout you all out. Of course, there's our wrenches, the bronze wrencher, the great Eric K. I believe he had to run out, but the great Chris Persia, Vindicator Wrench of the North. D. Bud Martin, the Wrench of Iron. Lord Thoth and Lady Thoth, the God and Goddesses of Wrenches. Avon Lives, Long Live the Legion. The great J-Man Wrench Without Fear. Hungry Boy, Master of the Club, Boney. Stephen Cal-El. Maddie's Daddy Thor in Vegas, the Fanty Outsidery, and our own Music Master, Maximum Redstone. Now, let me say goodbye to friends who joined us here tonight in the chat. We'll do it really quickly, folks. You're important to us, so we got to do all the shout-outs. Our wonderful friend Jill, our communications officer, anti-derivative Jill. Let's see here. Joseph Dredd, here comes the judge. Shooter, FKHC 2000, the Tetrarch of Apathy, Simply Steve, let's see, Linrod, Lil Scotty, Mr. Angel, a chef, Sandra Feliciano, hail to you, and Raymond out there, King Dolphin TV, and I hope things turn out well for you all. Snail Messiah, JT Kirk, thank you, JT, SP4H, the great enigmatic Drop Bear, always good to see you, Edie, thank you. I said Fancy Outsider, probably, but just in case. John Rupas, Pop Culture Creator, Douchebag Kylo, Bushman Down, Almighty Sports Show. Oh, buddy. Rob Altus, thank you. Claude Selling. And they called him Scuba Pete. Lisa, lovely Lisa, thank you. Darcipio. Dave Rayborn, Cuz. Kirk 130. The AI Show. Mighty Orbots. Sean Carter. Dave G. Sound. Larry, Keely Chow, Roll Tide. Boosh McFadden. Dadman Walking and the Dadman Clan. Zathras. Alara Carlson. Warrior of Justice. Vic Fontaine. The lovely Katie. James T. Skywalker. Brian Hepburn. Rod Thunderheart. Gary Ambrosia, thank you. Canadian Spidey. Mohammed Said. Lemon Pie. Midnight's Oblivion. Let's see here, and almost there. I have to turn my book over. Minimusness. Ravenscroft, 82. Nerdad and Axamanda Bear. Parker Luck. Michael Beacom, Grim, Crease, 1984, DJ Ronnie G, and Lady Miss. And I hope I didn't miss anyone. Thank you all, everyone out there who was lurking. We love the lurkers. And anyone watching on a rewatch or a downstream. Hey, Smilex. I didn't just barely caught you there. Well, good to see you. Smilex, thanks for stopping by. It's always appreciated. And I think we got everybody now. So, all right, my friends, thank you all so much for being with us. A big shout out and thanks again to the most wonderful, beautiful first officer in the fleet, Commander R.M. Briggs, and the greatest chief engineer in the fleet. Happy birthday to the great Mark D with a C, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Oh, and also,
Happy birthday.
thanks so much, everybody. So now, good night and have a wonderful remainder of your evening. Clobber on, and happy Father's Day, everybody. Shout out to Brian Hepburn. I think I missed you for some reason. Thank you. And one more thing, everybody.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you.